What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Boys Basketball Podcast, or as John would call it, the Monday Show. But I got another good one for you guys. You know, it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's just exciting, really, because we've suffered through our baseball teams. A week from today, we're going to be doing NFL previews, NFL picks for the first time. It's going to be fun. Can't wait for that stuff. So we got NFL to talk about. We got 53-man roster predictions, cuts, news among our teams, some outside NFL news as well, and then maybe dig into a little bit of baseball, but that's pretty much that. Angry John, first thoughts.
Well, first off, it is the Monday show. All right. It's quite clear it's the Monday show. But what's up, y'all? Got a lot for you tonight. We got both our 53-man rosters. I know some of the cuts already happened throughout the day. So we're obviously, and we already know we got some stuff incorrect, but these are our predictions pretty much like right after the game from Saturday's Jets-Giants game. We also have more stuff regarding other NFL stuff, like, you know, other teams' cuts, other news, all that good stuff. And it was good. It felt like yesterday we finally got back into a whole show of like football talk. We can pretty much put aside baseball with all of this news, entertainment coming out, and we don't have to worry about any plush or feeble teams out there for the time being. Go ahead, Luke.
Absolutely. Luker. Of course, he's not going to respond. Luca, what's going on?
Hope all is well, everybody. Again, hit the like button, subscribe to all the good stuff. Obviously, football is right around the corner. We are about, I don't know how many days from football, but close to a week plus. But obviously, get your football hats on, get your football helmets on, jerseys. Put away those baseball jerseys because baseball sucks here in New York. So we're going to have a lot tonight in terms of football, and I can't wait.
All right. Shouts to Mike. Shouts to Daniel Berry Sports. Once again, guys, hit the like button, subscribe, do all the good stuff, turn on post notifications. Armand, what's up? He's also in the chat. But I also want to say this before we get into our warm-up exercise, and then we go from there. And I didn't do this the last two live streams, so pain on my ass. This episode of the Big Blue in the Bronx Boys Big Apple Podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. Yes, we are now sponsored by SeatGeek. Going to a Giants game, Jets game, Yankees game for some reason, Mets game, whatever game, even concerts as well. You get $20 off your entire ticket order with the promo code Big Blue in the Bronx. So definitely use that. They traded for him late. He's definitely gonna make the 53-man. What is up, classy nasty?
That he should be a lock.
No, I would. He's a lock. I can tell you that right now. I think a lot of people know that he's a lock. Mm-hmm. But as we always do start before we get into football, we do have an Immaculate Grid to do. So let's try to bang this out. Of course, the chat can help us along the way if we have no answers or whatnot. But you guys keep your questions coming in the chat and stuff like that. Also, we got to get to 10 likes. So here is what we are given today by the folks at Pro Football Reference. Any ideas off the top of your guys' head?
Well, what do we got? We got Cowboys, Saints. Cowboys, Titans. Okay. I'm trying to think of a good one.
If you wanted to go 100% in terms of like the score going up, you could choose DeMarco Murray, but that's not the way we're going to go.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Is Christian Covington ever a Saint?
I'll take a look at that. I think we have one player that Armin did bring up last night. He wants – actually, no, never mind, because this player – I don't think he ever played a game with Tennessee, unfortunately. That's Jamarco Jones. He was with them last year. This year he got cut for starting fights at training camp. So there is that. You could go Marcus Williams, Saints and Ravens, but then again, too, that's going to be a high score.
There's also a Willie Snead.
Willie Snead, I think that might be a more rare score, maybe.
I got one guy for the Cowboys Titans.
Okay.
Because I know he played one season with Dallas, and I don't know how popular he's going to be. He was a running back, Eddie George.
Okay, so
that's a good one.
Eddie George. I remember he played
19%.
Okay.
So we've We've already started on a bad note, thanks to John. Yeah.
Oh, come on. You know what? I threw
Wasn't
out the
that bad,
guess.
Alex? Relax.
Come on.
I'm fucking around. Calm down. Stop getting your pants all wet, Luca. Oh, I'm sorry, Luker. Anyway, let's see what else we could figure out here. Well, all pros could probably start figuring out. I mean, if I don't know how obvious Shannon Sharp is.
I don't know either because he is like a well-known guy on television. I just don't know if people remember him playing football.
Right. That's another one. Yeah, so he won all pros mostly. Didn't win one with the Ravens, but won one with the Denver Broncos. So that's an option. Emmitt Smith, probably the most obvious. I think Steve Largent was a Cowboy, but didn't win any all pros with them.
Was Sean Lee ever a All Pro?
Let's take a look at that. Sean Lee. He was 2016. Do we try that out?
Yeah, we should try it.
All right, Sean Lee. 0.5%. Okay, so Luca's got it. Shouts to Bill in the chat. What's going on, Bill?
What's going on, Bill?
Armin is throwing in some suggestions in the chat. See what else we can pick up here.
Come on, I'm thinking still. Hold up.
I don't think B.W. Webb was a Cowboy. I don't think so. Wait, I might be right on that one, actually. Hold on.
2013.
Yeah, he was drafted by them. So I think B.W. Webb might actually be 2013. Yep. Okay, so B.W. Webb, Titans, Cowboys. Oh, I'm sorry. That's already been taken. But I think he played for the Saints, too. I do remember he played for New Orleans a little bit, so that counts. B.W. Webb.
All right.
Giant fans really don't want to remember. That is a pretty damn rare score. I think I should get a round of applause for that. Let's see what else we got here. There's also a couple of comments. Jonathan Ogden, Terrell Davis, Travis Frederick.
Yeah, so. There were. I think there was.
What about Marshall Yonda?
Yeah, that would work. Work for all.
Let's see how much. Marshall Yonda. 3%. That's not bad. Okay, so I'm on the roll.
For the Saints Ravens, I think Willie Snead's the obvious one, but I think we can go with the offensive lineman James Hurst.
Okay, that's another good one.
He played for both.
That's enough. Okay, all right. So we after a little mishap, we've got back on track here. Tennessee and Denver. It seems like Denver again. Shannon Sharp could possibly be very, very obvious. Damn. Chase Daniel never played for the Broncos. What else we got here? Tennessee and Baltimore. Tennessee and Baltimore. Yeah, they've given tough ones recently, I must say.
I do have another one for Denver because I think Shannon Sharp would be too obvious. First team All Pro, Steve Atwater.
Steve Atwater. 2%. Okay. Not terrible. All right. So we got 3 more guesses to go. Tennessee, and then 2 more with Denver.
Did Matt Hasselbeck ever play for the Broncos?
I don't think so. Your answer is no.
No.
All right, we got 3 more. 3 more on the books. Saints, Broncos. Damn, I'm trying to think of like offensive linemen, maybe tight ends. Let me know when you guys want to defer to the chat because the chat.
Hold up, I don't want to do that right this second.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying give up now.
No, we don't give up. We never give up.
Damn. Okay. Paxton Lynch and Chad Kelly never played for the Saints. I mean, if coaches was one, it'd be Sean Payton, but we all know that's out the window. Brandon Allen, I don't think ever played for the Saints. No. Yeah, this one's fucking tough. All right. Tennessee, Denver. This one's obvious. I don't know how you guys want to go about it. Jarrell Casey?
For who? The Titans and the
Titans, Broncos.
I mean, I don't know how many people are going to guess it, but
Right.
So, do you think we should just go with Jarrell Casey?
Yeah, that's a
Sure.
good guess.
Okay, Jarrell Casey. I feel like this is going to be high, but hopefully not. 15%. Okay. 2 more on the block. Saints, Broncos. No Matt Lacoste. No Jeff Hireman. Tough ones.
I'm
Iron
pretty
Man.
sure Steve McNair might have played for. Did he play for Baltimore?
I thought he did.
I don't know
And
how
John's
obvious
right.
it'd be,
Yeah,
though.
Steve McNair.
I don't know how obvious it'd be because he was a quarterback and he was damn good on Tennessee.
Shout out to Crossface, Brad, and Barbara in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you guys for all the suggestions too. We are taking
Yeah.
a look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. Got 2 more. Titans and Ravens. Damn. And then,
I see. They're throwing out Derek Mason in the.
do you think we
chat.
should throw that in?
Yeah, we'll give them one. We'll give them an answer.
Yeah.
Crossface and Armand. I see you guys put Derek Mason. I'm going to trust both of you guys. I think they're both right.
Tennessee and
Denver.
We already did that one.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I meant Ravens and Titans.
Okay. All right, so
That's what Armand said.
Okay, so
Let's
Derek
go.
Mason. 21%. Okay,
All right.
so it's going to be a little higher this time around. Not our best rarity score, but we're still getting it done. And then Saints and Broncos.
Trying to think. Any linemen that played for both?
Armin does have a suggestion.
I see. Mike.
Bradley Roby. That's a good one.
Ooh.
I mean, that might be more obvious, but that's a good one. I kind of wanted Bradley Roby a couple of years ago. So, do we go or Chris Harris Jr.? Chris Harris Jr. played with the Saints?
I'll check that out.
I don't remember that.
That's right. Last year he did.
Oh.
So, do we go Roby or do we go Chris Harris Jr.?
Did Trevor Siemian ever play on the Saints?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Wait, yes, he did.
He did.
Yeah, he beat Brian's team.
That's right.
Trevor
Ooh.
Siemian.
I don't know how rare that's gonna. I don't know.
14%. Okay.
Okay.
So rarity score 75. We'll do baseball a little later on.
Yeah.
But I guess before we get into roster predictions and stuff, guys, keep throwing your questions and stuff in the chat. People being Brian completely out of character. Wait, how am I being Brian?
No, he's calling me. He's calling me Brian.
Oh, that's a Brian moment on myself.
Yeah, ha. See, Brad, he's the new
Joke
Brian.
on you.
No, joke on me. That's a. Hold on. Wait. I gotta put this up. Wait, just 1 second. Did we get rid of it? No, we didn't. See, strike one. But I guess we could. I know it's dead water type of subject, but also for like roster chances and stuff, we could get into the game a little bit. What happened on Saturday with the Giants and the Jets? Obviously, the Giants lost, but I mean, both of our teams played. Some takeaways. I'll start with Luca.
Some takeaways. Obviously, for the Jets, we'll obviously go more in depth on this. The defensive line depth to this team couldn't be more apparent. Obviously, you see Bryce Huff getting a sack. He's creating pressure off the edge continuously on third down. Jermaine Johnson's doing the same. The XFL, I think it was with the XFL, the USFL Defensive Player of the Year, PETA. He had a good game as well. He's going to get cut, but I'm sure they bring him back to the practice squad. Obviously, we saw the first looks of Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, the little connection they had. Running game didn't get going. The offensive line play was solid, though, obviously from the starters. But that's my main takeaways.
All right. Feeble bingo card 4 eyes being Brian. Well, that might have to be part of the bingo card in the future. John, what did you take away from Saturday's game?
Well, I mean, we kind of saw
As Lucas deserted us again, by the way.
Yeah, he went to go bring up the another cat fight in his house, as he's the cat ref. Nevertheless, though, for me, most of these takeaways, I was really more in tune with the first stringers, and not to say I didn't pay attention to the second stringer or third stringers, but this is the first time we kind of both got to see some guys. It was good. Again, obviously, Luca mentioned the defensive line depth. Obviously, you saw them pressure the hell out of some of the Giants' ones and twos. Jermaine Johnson there, causing havoc. Who I don't know. This dude might be a breakout candidate for us, as he is looking dangerous, and he just looked too good to be playing in preseason. I don't like. It feels like every time, like, you know, he was on the field, I don't think anyone could contain him. Bryce Huff, another guy. I think I read a stat today saying that he had the most in preseason. He had the most pressures on third and fourth down with 8. So again, there's that one. And then when you look at the offense, and also we get to see Sauce Gardner with a few times in coverage, which is very nice as well. And then you look at the offense, you know, a lot of quick throws for Aaron Rodgers. You know, they featured Garrett Wilson, and then, you know, Rodgers threw a dot in the end zone to Garrett Wilson. Really good ball. Pretty much had to throw a tight window in the upstairs where, you know, Wilson, the only play he had. So that was good to see. And the offensive line, you know, they did relatively well, the first stringers. Obviously, the big story is still Mekhi Becton winning that right tackle spot. You know, because now we're going to get to see what can he do in the season, and if he can last the full season with all the health concerns that he had. But those were some of the more major takeaways from that preseason game alone.
All right, so a couple of comments from Brad here, and then Armin says, "What in the fuck does Aston Davis have on Sal and Ulbrich to stay on this team when Trey Dean is gone?"
Yeah, we'll get into that.
So some takeaways for I don't know about you guys, but even though this is like the third preseason game, I didn't really learn anything new about my team except for you guys obviously learned about your ones. Nothing new for the Giants. Offensive tackle is still an issue on the depth side. Running back,
awful.
Yeah, Pear was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy DeVito looked good again, and I know that's been a talking point for some Jeff fans over Zach Wilson. But DeVito looked good. I think he's going to get a spot on the practice squad. The Giants were unable to run in short yardage situations. David Sills had a solid game. Defensively, and I'm going to bring something up that's going to trigger Luca in a second. Defensively, Isaiah Simmons, he played 5 snaps, and he also had a quarterback pressure. Michael Carter was trying to block him and kind of got obliterated. So that's not what I was talking about at the trigger point, but it just shows that Isaiah Simmons can be a very good piece on this New York Giants defense. Carter Coughlin, he solidified his spot as inside linebacker 5. Really like the way he's played. He's going to play special teams probably most likely. The Giants really don't have any depth at backup corner. Most of them played terrible. And I'm talking also against the Jets backups, multiple missed tackles, Amani Oruwariye, Jamon Green, and then Darren Evans allowed a touchdown to Alex Erickson, who was just cut. And then Tamon Fox was really the only one who stood out in terms of the edge play. Everyone else stayed silent, so the Giants were probably looking there. Paired is a disaster. That's all we learned. But I think, to be fair, though, that's been a shout out to Jonathan, by the way. That's been a point probably for the last 3 weeks that Pear has been trashed. Now in camp he looked good, but when you get to the regular season preseason games and you're actually facing at least solid level talent, and you could say, oh, whatever about, him getting beat by Jermaine Johnson, who's going to have a good year, at least in my opinion. But when he got beat by Bryce Huff, it's just like, dude, he's a rotational pass rusher on third down. It's not like he's an elite pass rusher. I would like him on the Giants, but we'll see if he gets cut or not. Parrott sucks. We need another offensive tackle. Yeah, Dennis Kelly has been my top recommendation. Mac the Giants fan. I just put his channel in the chat. So definitely sub to Mac the Giants fan. Premium takes the round of the what is it? The NFC East roundup with him and Adam. How do you feel about giving Alex Leatherwood a look? Could be a serviceable depth piece. I mean, it's not all terrible as an idea. I'd rather go after Dennis Kelly personally, and I know he might be gone by the time the waiver wire serves into our order because we're 26th. But if there's no other option on the market, I would say see what Leatherwood has to offer because there's reports that he could be a better guard than tackle, and then vice versa. So I just dislike the fact that the Raiders kind of put their grubby hands on him and reached for him in the first round a couple of years ago. But I mean, it's pretty much a dead duck. But listen, if there's no other options, I'd go after him. Colby Gossett from the Browns. I'd give Michael Dunn is another name from the Browns. I'd give him a run. Connor Galvin. There's a couple of offensive linemen being released out here that I think the Giants should really go after. Yes, John. I saw the Yankees thing. No, I could.
Oh no! I was just signaling helicopter. I didn't know if you guys heard. I don't know how to signal.
I didn't hear it.
You were signaling home run.
I heard it.
And I would just like to offer my condolences to Mac. He is also a suffering Mets fan like Sir John over here. So, and I remember he was ranting on the Premium Takes show. The Jets should bring in Leatherwood. He can't be any worse than Billy Turner. I mean,
I want Dennis Kelly, preferably.
Yeah. Well, he only stole that name.
I'll even take it if Lyle Collins gets released from the Bengals. I'd even take him.
I think Lyle Collins is probably a starter now.
I mean,
I'm going to take a look at the depth chart. I'm going to take a look at the depth chart.
We'll see what happens.
I think it'd be very rare that. Okay, so he is penciled in. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally forgot they have Orlando Brown.
Yeah, they signed him, remember?
But, yeah, no, that just totally escaped me. But, yeah, Lyle, right offensive tackle right now is Jonah Williams. But Collins, maybe he does get cut. So maybe John is onto something. Maybe he isn't. Luca deserted us again. Can that be on the bingo card? Can that be on the bingo card?
I'm going to anoint, because I know Brad pays attention to the most in the chat. I will anoint him Sir Bingo Keeper of any of the stuff that usually happens. And Luca deserting us for a cat fight is definitely on that.
Or is deserting us for something.
Oh, my.
It's number 3. I have a feeling I know what he's dealing with, but that's number 3. Okay. Bill says, the Packers just released Pat O'Donnell. Do we like him better than Jamie Gillen? Don't know anything about him. Well, he's a former Pro Bowler. The problem with the Giants is they signed Gillen to a 2-year extension, so I think it's very unlikely that they come out and they get Pat O'Donnell. I think Gillen played decent in the preseason punting-wise. Doesn't mean I'm bringing in an endorsement for him. But, I wouldn't. I think I said Pat O'Donnell, they should have signed him a few years ago. So Armin says SMH. Luca. Bill says, I got it. This is another good name for waiver wire purposes. Desmond King just got released by the Texans, can return kicks and provide some insurance in case either of the rookies struggle. He's also a slot corner. And what I will say is this as well, and I know Crossface Ray had another question besides the one he just asked. But what was I going to say? Like, you look at his stats, obviously the completion percentage is high because you're in the slot and you're more targeted probably that way. But I'd still bring him in. I'd probably prefer him over Darnay Holmes in most situations, but we already know he's staying with the team. It says SMH. Luca, does Alex have to duct tape you to your chair during the streams?
Very funny, Armin.
No, listen, if Armin supplies the duct tape, we might have to consider this. So that means no dinner breaks, no cat fights, none of that stuff. What is the biggest weakness in the Giants? That's a good question. I actually have to think about this. I'm also going to bring this one up too. Frick. Biggest weakness of the Giants. It's not like they're like great and strong in a lot of areas, but it's not like they're weak either. I would say depth at, I don't know, corner. Depth at edge is another one.
My vote was going to be offensive line depth.
I would say offensive line depth to a certain degree, yes. That's the
was
biggest offensive weakness.
Mhm.
How do you feel Jones is going to do this year? I mean, call me a homer. I know I was talking to Bad Take Brian when we were at Bucks Jets training camp, and he's like, because I believe he was talking about Justin Herbert and how he got extended. He's like, Justin Herbert, he's going to regress because of the contract, and obviously Daniel Jones got a new contract, so he's going to regress. I don't think so. I'm not going to say he passes for 30 touchdowns, but he needs to pass for at least 25. I say he passes for 23 touchdowns this year. Possibly more, though. Possibly more. I think that actually would be a very good segment for next week, is we start predicting stuff with our teams going in and stuff like that. I will provide the duct tape. I have a lot. Okay, good to know. Good to know. John and Mac are in alliance with the O-line depth.
Mhm.
Depth at O-line, edge, and linebacker. I don't feel as bad about linebacker, knowing that Isaiah Simmons is here and Micah McFadden and Darian Beavers are solid, and you don't necessarily have to say, okay, these guys got to start right away. Obviously, Simmons plays multiple positions, and Carter Coughlin's a special teamer, so I'm not as down on linebacker as I was, but edge and O-line and corner need to be solved a little bit. I'll take 20 touchdowns, and if he rushes 800 yards, ZJ will be better. I said this when he got signed, and you guys might agree with this. I think he needs to throw for at least 25 with the contract he's given. My personal opinion. And look, I've been a guy that's like, sometimes I'll defend DJ. Sometimes I'll actually call him out and whatnot. It depends on the situation and what it calls for. But I think he'll run less, but I think that still should be a part of his game. Tarzan grip required to keep Luka in chair. That's another good one. And then DJ got over 30 total touchdowns, about 25 passing or 26, 6 or 7 rushing.
He needs to.
No, he needs to. I mean, like over 30 touchdowns, I don't think he's going to get that. But I know people will have their predictions, and we'll see what happens during the season. But also, I want to bring this up because I know Luka got triggered by this, and I'll offer my own comments in an unbiased fashion. Luka, what do you think of the Twitter reaction to Jalen Hyatt beating Sauce Gardner and the whole stuff like that?
Makes no sense. Great. If you went on Twitter right now, Giants fans, I'm not saying all of them, would act like Tyrod Taylor threw the greatest incomplete pass of all time because Jalen Hyatt beat Sauce Gardner. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's preseason. Who cares? Even the best get beat, in preseason, regular season. It's not the end of the world, folks. Let's calm down.
The thing is, Luka, they will beat up that point, but then literally a few plays later, Sauce had a pass breakup on him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I will say this.
And then those idiots in the broadcast booth. I think no, it wasn't the idiots in the broadcast booth. On that pass breakup, they're saying they were talking about Sauce Gardner holding. What people didn't see is Jalen Hyatt's left hand on Sauce Gardner's jersey, pushing him away. So you know what? Let's be fair, people. Let's meet in the middle.
Just a preview of what's going to happen the week of October 29th, folks.
You really think Jalen Hyatt's going to take Sauce to school? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't. Where did you get that?
Talking about the trash.
I'm talking about the trash.
Oh, the trash.
But I'm not trash talking. It's facts.
That's what he was saying because then I was going to be like, Alex, come on.
It's facts, though. It's completely facts that if you saw Jalen Hyatt was holding Sauce Gardner, but they're going to blame Sauce. Sauce Gardner gets the most unprecedented hate on Twitter, and I have no clue why. It's always by the opposing fans. Dolphins fans, Giant fans, Bills fans, whoever. Always. Always.
It's because he's good. That's why. No, he's not just good. He's great. Like he's exceptional.
I have to see
There's a lot you don't see. I'm not saying you're blind or anything, but you don't have the timeline to see it.
But what I will make and call me middleman, all right? But I'm gonna make this more out of a Giants positive point. I'm not gonna overreact to it. It is impressive, like whether it's preseason or regular season, that he did beat a first round corner and he did beat a defensive player of the year in Sauce Gardner. Like it is impressive. If the roles were reversed, I would say yeah, that's impressive for the Jets if they had Garrett Wilson beating or whatever the case may be. It shows that like Jalen Hyatt has legitimate amounts of speed, and if they could just fix his route running and stuff with press release, I think he's going to be a very dominant threat deep wise. And it also says something once again. I'm not going to sit here and put up the pom poms, but I will say this: it does say something, and I'm really pulling shit out of my ass here. If Tyrod Taylor, if Daniel Jones is in the game, he might make that throw, but also it does say something where Sauce did need deep help. That's my opinion. I'm not saying Sauce is bad. I'm not saying Sauce is, oh, he's got cooked. He's going to get cooked this season. No. But I'm just saying, for the potential of this kid, if you look at 2 preseason reps, once again, the safety had to come over and help. And I will give to Sauce, right? He did lead Hyatt towards the sideline and use that as a boundary so that there was limited space. That's just my opinion. So it is a positive. And then you look at week 1 and just like the whole thing of this offense where week 1, as I think Mike put in the chat with Trayvon Diggs gets beat a lot by the double move. And if they take if they're playing cover 2 man, right? And if they take a safety with Jalen Hyatt and Trayvon Diggs, that could potentially leave the Giants in terms of running the football. That could leave Darren Waller open and all the other targets we have. And then Saquon maybe in the receiving game or anyone else they put in. So I think the Giants fans, personally me, just my opinion, it is a good takeaway that he did beat Sauce on 2 reps. But the thing is, though, don't attribute that to Sauce being trash or got burned on a rep. Take that as, okay, if he shows that consistency in the regular season, the offense could open up in so many different avenues that it's not going to be funny. Just my opinion. So, and I could I could trash the Jets whenever I want. I see Jets football. I'm objective. I could be a fanboy. I'm not going to be a fanboy because I know there's a lot of fanboys out there. But what I will say is, look, Sauce is a good corner. Jalen Hyatt, it's an accomplishment. They're going to show some of that on Hard Knocks tomorrow. But it is an accomplishment for Jalen Hyatt to go beat somebody like Sauce Gardner. And then the potential of that for this offense to look like that if Jalen Hyatt is going deep and then you got Darren Waller somewhere. So as long as Daniel Jones has his shit together and the offensive line gives him time, that's just a preview of what you're looking at. And then you could sit there 8 weeks into the season say, okay, let's see what the Jets do against us. Obviously pending every single injury and all that other good shit. So any other I got some comments to get to, but any other thought, John, any thoughts on like the whole spectacle?
I mean, he made a nice move on him. That's fine. He had a step or two, but again, no catch was made. Now, I mean, I know that it can attribute because being Tyrod Taylor has been awful this preseason. I know you said he's been okay. I have not liked what I've seen from Taylor.
No, I agree.
If I'm being completely honest, but that's a whole talk for in a little bit. But nevertheless,
John is being completely transparent.
Yes. Such a funny image with him on a Bills hat. But anyway, there was no completion made. And like you said, Sauce is a very smart corner. He's going to use anything to his advantage, okay? He used the out of bounds to force an incompletion. And that's really not going to happen to Sauce too much. You already know that, whoever he's facing, whoever it may be this year, whether it's Stephon Diggs, whether it's Tyreek Hill, whether it's, I don't know, Keenan Allen, whoever's on the schedule, CeeDee Lamb, in this case, Jalen Hyatt, whoever it is, like, he's going to go up against them. He's going to do a damn good job just like he did last year. You saw his numbers in coverage, especially with who he shut down. You saw the receiver stats. So let's not act like Sauce won't. Like, no, he's gonna be fine.
Right. And I will say this: I'm not going to defend all Giant fans, and I know there's going to be some attacking Sauce or whatever on that specific play, but I don't think. Again, call me a homer, whatever. I don't think they're going to be attacking him like Bills fans or like Dolphins fans like hating on him like that. I think it's just one specific rep. Crossface, his real name is Ahmad. His nickname is Sauce. But I do want to give a quick shout out to Coach Ed.
What's
Coach?
up, man?
I also want to give a shout out to Jay Sean Corbin's cousin, Tony, who's tuning in from London. So appreciate it. And Coach Ed says hit the like button. Guys, if you're here, definitely hit the like button. We're interacting with you guys. We're providing some good football talk. If you got questions, once again, please, in the chat comments, we'll get to them. If I was able to beat Sauce's point I was bringing up earlier, imagine what he'll do to Stephon Diggs. Exactly. And I think Tony might have a channel as well.
You mean Trayvon Diggs, right?
Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, Trayvon.
I might have had a Brian moment. But I think Tony has a channel as well. So definitely check him out. I think he does some boxing content. As long as he doesn't become John Ross. Yeah. One thing I will say is like Jalen Hyatt's 40 speed, I don't think was like great, but that doesn't match what he was doing on the field with Tennessee last year. And the usual thing you'll get with like guys who are great at the 40, the stereotype is they're not good in the NFL. John Ross is one. Tyquan Thornton, I think, is another. So that's just like a stereotype that goes around. No problem, coach. But I don't think Jalen Hyatt's speed was like, oh my God, because he would have went up in draft boards if the 40 speed was actually very good. Remember, he was picked in the 3rd round. I think the Giants still got a steal out of him, regardless of what I thought at the time. Luca, any closing remarks?
No.
All right. So, what do we? All right, let me see what this. He had a bad hamstring when he ran the 40. Makes a whole lot of sense, Mike. Thank you for providing that. I actually didn't know that. So, do you guys want to get into roster predictions, news? I know. Before obviously the cut downs, Corey Davis retired. Like, how do you guys want to do this? I'll let you, because obviously I got my own predictions to do, and all that sort of stuff. So Luca and John, I'll let you guys dictate.
I think the Corey Davis subject is a drawn out subject at this point. I think it's more about who's going to make it and who's not. I mean, John, I'll let you present your 53-man roster first and see what's come out of it thus far.
All right. That's fine. I'll just start reading who I have on my own personal laptop notes. All right. You know what? And I'll start at the quarterback position.
You guys want to compare?
Yeah, we can do that.
Compare.
We can do that. All right. So at quarterback, I had Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson both making it.
No Tim Boyle?
I do not have Tim Boyle making the roster.
I have Tim Boyle on this one.
Okay. Explain why, though.
Well, it could go one of two ways, in my opinion. He's going to end up with the Jets at some point, either practice squad or be that quarterback 3.
Well,
hold on. Isn't there some sort of rule about the quarterback, 3 quarterbacks, the emergency rule because of last year's NFC Championship game?
So, you know what? I have a bone to pick with the NFL in that rule, and I'll get into it in just a second. I don't want to take away from the subject, but in terms of that rule, it's something with elevating him in terms of the quarterback 3 for game day. I know you technically can also do that anyway because, well, actually, I don't think it will count as an inactive. It won't count against the 53. If anyone's got better explanation in terms of this in the chat, let us know. But I'm pretty sure if you elevate the quarterback 3, it doesn't count against the 53. And there's another thing as well, like if the quarterback goes down, he has to be on the 53. Let's look up the rule. Quarterback 3 rule 2023 NFL. Okay, let's see.
But by the way, I'm not saying Boyle can't make the practice squad.
No, I do have the rule. I apologize for interrupting, but here's where the bylaw will permit each team to field an emergency quarterback on game days that will not count against the team's 46-man roster. 46 because you got 7 inactions, which I think is the stupidest rule out there, my opinion, because like you could be using in the past, but I think it's a dead duck argument. Yeah, the 3rd could be on the game day roster and does not count and can only go into the game if the 1st and 2nd QB are injured in the game. That makes sense. That makes the whole world of sense. But like my bone to pick is they didn't do this a couple of years ago when Kendall Hinton was the quarterback of the Denver Broncos.
Right.
Like when they got absolutely obliterated, they didn't do that. But because the Ravens did, they got Anthony Brown starting a fucking playoff game. They decided it wasn't good for ratings, and that's when they put it in. And then also, like, during that thing, and, there's sometimes where I think Sean's an AFC North homer in terms of like the Steelers and stuff. Like sometimes I'll disagree with him, but I will say this: like during that season, that COVID season, you had obviously the Kendall Hinton stuff, but Lamar Jackson had COVID. Tyler Huntley had COVID. There was a couple guys that had COVID, and they kept delaying the game till Wednesday. I think
that just messed everything up that year. That was
I mean,
awful.
like it was a messed up year, but like it just shows where I could kind of see the gripe with all that stuff. But I guess now that they put it in, nobody gives a shit. In my opinion, 49 players should be active for game day. Yeah, I mean that seems like a fair number. Only 4 inactives, and if you have more injured players, fine. But once again, if you need an extra wide receiver, an extra tight end, something along. If you need an extra lineman, because teams are carrying 9 to 10 linemen nowadays, that's also a big one. Like there was an incident a couple of years ago where Levine Toilolo, who's a retired tight end, had to play right tackle for the Falcons. Yeah. So I'm just giving it to you there. But if you guys want to continue with your record prediction, Jesus Christ, roster prediction.
So I'm not saying Boyle can't make the practice squad, but I'm praying and I'm banking because, to be fair, Luca, I honestly thought he was awful in the. Besides the Giants game, I thought he held his own. But like training camp, I didn't read anything special about him. I didn't see any highlights or footage of him doing anything good, and I didn't like what I saw in the first 2 preseason games from Boyle. But I personally, I don't think he should be their third option. I would hope that maybe they pick up someone.
Yeah.
And this more goes into the Zach Wilson stuff because I'm in agreement with you, Luca, that if it's truly a redshirt year for Wilson, or if it's truly hey, we're going to learn from Aaron Rodgers, go find a different backup.
Exactly.
I have a question for you guys. I want to interject something, but I have a legitimate question for you guys. So there's one guy that also I was looking at cuts today, and
I think I know who you're talking about.
No, well, I'm not talking about quarterback yet, but there's a guy that I think the Giants should pick up, Aubrey Miller out of Jackson State. Was cut by the Dolphins, I believe. I think the Giants should have interest in him. Shouts to MH. Another Alex being Brian, that's 3. Is that a teacher on the top left? Yes. Well, I mean, technically he is the professor, but he's not wearing glasses. You're assuming I'm talking about PJ Walker, right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Colt McCoy.
Yeah, that's where
Colt McCoy's also another option too.
Like whether it's Carson Wentz, whether it's Colt McCoy, whether it's whoever that gets cut, whether it's Marcus Mariota, like somebody else that's just like a competent backup.
No, I understand.
Because, I don't want Wilson to play this year. I want him to learn. All right, if that's the best thing for him, fine, great. But that doesn't really, if God forbid, if we had that plan, and it doesn't really inspire confidence if Tim Boyle is the backup.
No.
But personally, I think it's going to be Rodgers and Wilson that make it.
And I don't like the argument. Like, I get it. There's that argument out there. I think Paul said it. And obviously Paul was great on our show. He said, anyway, we really shouldn't be worrying about quarterback 2 because Rodgers goes down, the season's done anyway. What if he's out for 2 to 3 games? Like Colt McCoy, you could say this and that about his resume. He won a game with the Giants against
Russell Wilson,
Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, they scored 17 points, but they had a power running game, which I think the Jets can do if their offense is solid in terms of the offensive line. PJ Walker, I think is a little less tier quarterback, but I think he's still capable of being a backup. I don't think Tim Boyle did that well last year. I think he had 1 or 2 starts, if I'm not mistaken.
He's an errant passer. That's my problem.
Right. So
he's not a good decision maker, and he's also not he doesn't look confident in the pocket, in my opinion. He really doesn't.
He's also like he's not a mobile guy. Like PJ Walker, you could probably make the case he's a mobile guy.
At least
McCoy, not much. But the thing with Zach is there's gonna, even if, how do I put this? And I know this is gonna sound double-sided, and I gotta get to Armin's comment too, is you do have, if you do put in Zach Wilson, who is the backup quarterback, and you throw him against the team, whoever it may be, and you have a power running game. But what if that defensive coordinator knows, okay, we're going to let them run on us, but at the goal line, and we want to make them pass? What if it's that situation and Zach crumbles? and it's supposed to be his reset year. That's kind of my thing. It's a double-sided argument because, yes, maybe he could go out there with a solid running game and just do the things like he did against the Packers last year. He did it against a couple other teams because he had that running game. But I just don't think that's going to be good enough. My personal opinion as an outsider.
Right, I agree with you, but again, as I was saying earlier, or I should say, just in general from observing last year, teams stacked the box and they didn't allow the run game to happen. So they said, you know what, let Zach Wilson beat us deep, and you know what, has his decision making gotten better? Has his has he gone through his progressions better? Because Armin said it last night. I know it was in the chat. Obviously, he said the Jets are playing the safe game with Zach Wilson. Everything is short. There's not a lot of deep passes. Not a lot of complicated plays.
There's that, but like I feel as though going back to your stacking the box point with Zach, and I know, of course, other teams will probably stack the box against any backup quarterback you throw out there. I think that'd probably be the thing that happens. Wait for him to come back. I don't know what he's doing. Armin says Jets have released cornerback Craig James.
Yeah, I saw that, Armin.
Bryce Hall spot could be safe according to U Stadium.
Well, we're gonna get into the corner. All right.
Yeah,
don't worry, that'll come up.
That's 4. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Armin says again. Like, teams are going to stack the box against any backup quarterback. That's just fair. But, I mean, they don't have to worry about Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard if Zach can't make the simple throws. And people could compliment him, and I know there was some compliments on Jets Twitter. Oh, Zach Wilson did this during the preseason. One of the throws I look at in that Jets-Giants game is when he missed E.J. Jenkins down the seam. Do you guys remember that one?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
That could have been a touchdown or a big play. Now, of course, maybe he made some other good throws, but again.
But you could also, to be fair, and this is being objective, as they say, he had that throw against the Giants where he had a deep ball to McCole Hardman. He dropped it. So it's like comparing end on end. But again, it's – as John said, and he obviously restated my point. If this is a true reset year for Zach Wilson, he can't be under the pressure to.
He needs to be inactive every game if that's the case. And also, to add on to the point, you remember that screen pass he had that was sidearm and it could have been picked.
Yes.
To the right side.
Yeah,
possibly yes.
It was caught the receiver.
It was caught like this.
Yeah.
So that could have been a pick. And once again, I'm not nitpicking because Zach Wilson, this and that. I don't give a shit. The Jets are not my team, but I'm just being objective.
No, and look, I'm not here to say that Zach Wilson is had this awful preseason. He looked, there was times where he looked more comfortable in the pocket. More times where I liked the biggest improvement I'll say with him this preseason. There are more times I actually saw him and that he did this more in the preseason as opposed to the past regular season. He knew when to throw it out of bounds. Huge thing that ticked me off last year. You saw that a few times. I'm like, okay, maybe there is something that he's learning. Okay. But was it this whole thing where I'm going to say I want to see him be the backup? No, if there really is any future with him, he really needs he needs to be treated like a rookie. Like a redshirt rookie, kind of like in college. They don't play freshmen for the most part. Let him sit. Let him learn. You have a Hall of Famer at quarterback. And he still plays at a high level despite the hate he gets. But he still does. And you need to do that. So hopefully this is the hope part that he can develop into something that he was supposed to 2 years ago. I know it's a bit ass backwards, but it is what their situation is now.
And again, it's just I don't necessarily, and I know this is a beat up point, but I just don't necessarily agree with the Jets.
Can I also add
keeping him because it adds all the what could have been shit. Luca, you were saying?
You can make a good point, but it doesn't take just one offseason to completely rebuild a quarterback's mindset. Let me tell you right now. It does not work that way, folks. No. I'm just, this is not being negative or unrealistic. This is being quite realistic. We saw how bad Zach can be last year. We saw it all. The Jaguar game, whatever game. I know everybody wants to hide that and all. We have Aaron Rodgers, good stuff, right? Absolutely. But it doesn't just take one offseason to rebuild a quarterback's mindset. It doesn't.
No, it takes a while. And if that were the case, he would have got better in his second season. I argue he's better in his first season.
That's fair. It's fair. You saw more progression down the line towards the end of that 2021 season, but
that's
again, I still have my concerns with the backup quarterback position. Again, going back to the original argument, I do think they keep Boyle as that quarterback 3. It could be either or, as we just talked about with the whole practice squad bringing up the quarterback thing. It doesn't make a difference if he's in or on the practice squad. He's not. It's either if he gets cut, he's on the practice squad. If he's still on the roster, he's going to be quarterback 3. So it doesn't really make a difference at the end of the day. I've just added him because I think, maybe the Giants' performance kind of enlightens the coaching staff and says, you know what? Hey, maybe, he's getting better. I don't know. So I just threw him on for sakes.
Right. Zach is getting better around Aaron. Yeah, I mean, once again, it's all going to chalk up to what he looks like if he ever gets to play in the regular season. Personally, this is my opinion. I think a big test, like let's just say the Jets have already made the playoffs, and I don't know who your Week 18 opponent is.
New England.
Throw him in there. And I'm not even saying preseason type plays or any of that stuff. No, throw him in there with the offense, see what he looks like, and then you could do your thing.
Depends, yeah.
How many years left has he got on his contract?
Let's do a check.
He had 1.
2,
this
right?
is going to be his third season.
So fifth year. So he's got next year.
Yeah.
He's got next year.
Unless they decide to pick up the option.
Which I highly doubt they do. But I think that would be a good test.
Yeah.
Is if you make the playoffs, you clinch your spot, sit Aaron Rodgers, you play Zach Wilson. Fuck Tim Boyle, fuck any other person in the quarterback room. You go out there and you see what you got in Zach Wilson. This is my personal opinion. But again, from an outsider standpoint, I don't know why they kept Zach because all this what could have been stuff. But I get it. They're trying.
It's also a $20 million cap hit, to be fair.
No, I understand. They're also trying to save face at the same time. Because that is their draft pick.
I firmly believe, and we're going to get into some other guys as we read off the list after the final thought here. I firmly believe that when Joe Douglas takes someone, he gives them you know how a cat has 9 lives?
Yeah,
well, you could just double that because he gives them the amount of lives.
Certain players, yes. Certain players, yes.
Certain players, and we'll get into some of them, but
right. Armand actually says he thinks they pick up the option on Wilson. I would not do that.
To me, it'd be really hard for this. Joe Cap brings this up. He's obviously the more pessimistic Jet fan, and he's like, if the Jets don't win anything with Aaron Rodgers and this regime will likely be out, and how will another regime pick up Zach Wilson's option? I'm not really it's so hard for me to believe that Zach Wilson's going to turn around after 2-3 years. In a Jets uniform. I'm not saying for his career, but in a Jets uniform, it would be very hard for me to say, oh, he could turn it around because he hit such a pit last year. It's bad.
Well, you're putting yourself in a hole, and I get it. You kind of have to go back on your draft pick and say, listen, this is my guy or whatever. But there's 2 situations, right, in terms of what Armand is thinking.
Right.
If you're Joe Douglas, and for some reason you're still there, Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, whoever. And they pick up the option, that's how many millions of dollars. I don't know how much it would be in 2024, 25.
Yeah, I'd have to look.
The money-wise, but that's big on a if player. And then if you're, let's just say, a new regime coming in, that would also be a risk. That's not what Joe Schoen and Brian Dable did. That would also be a risk because why would you pick up the option? And I'm not saying Armand's wrong here. Obviously, I'm not going to tell somebody how to think, but I'm just giving my own opinion. Is why would you come in past regime quarterback and say we're going to pick up the option and see what he could do? Because there's so many stupid teams in the NFL with stupid executives, and the Cardinals are doing their own thing right now. But again, the problem is there's too many what ifs because Zach Wilson is still a New York Jet.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion. Once again, $20 million dead cap. You can't do anything about that. Mm-hmm. But I just
right. That's a whole nother thing. All right. Do you want to move on to the next position?
Yes. I
All
think
right,
we'll
running.
share the same thoughts here in running back.
Yeah, running back. So and I'm putting fullback and halfback together. So I have 5 guys. I have Brees Hall, Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter, Izzy, and Nick Bawden. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be right here because earlier today they did cut Bam Knight officially.
Mhm.
So sayonara to him. Thank you for your time here, but we are not going to be going
Yeah,
with
he
you.
wasn't just he just what to me he just wasn't good enough in preseason. I know people, are coming like certain people on Twitter are relying off like what they see from other content creators on Twitter, what they're, visually from the practices that are recorded and all that shit and all the videos. But to me, like I gotta side with primetime here. I know like the beat reporters were saying different. I thought Michael Carter looked better in camp overall, and slowly but surely he started to get first team reps because his status was very much in question because of the Dalvin Cook stuff. In terms of the rumors, not even him just signing, just the rumors, let alone in his down season last year, which I believe, in my opinion, he was hurt last year. So
Coulda-
obviously hiding an injury, but
I
he just got
honestly
better throughout the preseason. He obviously through camp and Zonovan Knights, he just went down in terms of
I
his stock.
I honestly believe that Knight started out better, but I think Carter just picked his play up to a level that Knight couldn't compete with. And
Hmm.
I firmly believe, I don't think it was injury that really kept Carter down last year. I think he was really upset by the James Robinson trade and disgruntled after that. So I think that his play took a hit because of it. Because, it's not, I can't blame the offensive line necessarily because I know obviously that has a lot to do with the running backs and how they run, obviously. But you saw Hall succeed. You saw Zonovan Knight succeed last year, and Carter just looked a step slow. Now, maybe it could have been an injury, but I do give him credit. He battled back this training camp. And obviously, Hall and Cook are the 2 main guys. So now you fill out the depth with Carter. And I think Izzy, I know he got hurt, obviously,
Yeah.
in I think it was that second preseason game, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
against
No, it was against the Bucks. It was
yeah,
against the Bucks.
against the Bucks where he got hurt. But I liked him during the preseason. I thought he showed some good speed. I really liked that nice run where he had the spin move. That was good to see. And I hope when he gets healthy again that he's either ready for week 1 or week 2. I don't know the status update on him. And then obviously Nick Bawden, which was actually funny because I saw some like other either beat reporters or guys that are more highly known. I think it was Connor Hughes that didn't have Nick Bawden making the roster.
Yeah.
And that really confused me because I'm like, well, we've been using a fullback a lot during training camp and during the preseason. So
Right.
why would he not make the roster? That was like really puzzling to me, but I think he does make it, and I think
Yeah,
it
of
would make
course.
sense.
Yeah, I have Bawden. Once I started hearing that Hackett likes to use the fullback in his offense. I'm like, yeah, perfect. Bawden's been here for what, 3 years? He's definitely staying.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. By the way, once again, shout outs to Big Pat Sports Talk, one of the 3 co-founders of the Big Blue Crew, who will be at the Giants Jets game. Of course they're going to organize a little block party, so I definitely will be there, and we'll get to meet the Big Blue Crew, and we do a lot of good stuff. A lot of group content creators for the Giants. So if you guys have any, please sub up Big Pat. And if you go in my YouTube, if you go to my channel and the suggested channels, it's all the Big Blue Crew right there. So if you guys want to, I just wanted to shout out Big Pat. Barbara says the Jets have a lot of running backs. Yeah.
Good job.
You guys want to continue?
Yeah, we can go on to the wideouts here. I got 6 guys making the roster. Obviously, Garrett Wilson's your best guy. I predict we'll get into this next week probably, but he's going to crack over 1,000 yards again and have a big year. I got Lazard, Cobb, McCole Hartman, Xavier Gibson, and Jason Brownlee. And I think it was an hour or 2 ago that Jason Brownlee was informed that he is going to make the 53-man roster. So undrafted free agent that did make the team. So congrats to him. The other guys that were battling it out, Alex Erickson, he got cut today. So I think I'm going to be right here. I don't know if you had anything different, Luca. I know we talked about well, go ahead, Luca. I'll let you.
Oh, I was going to say, I actually had 5, not 6, because I was so troubled and like, After the Giants game, I was, busy creating this. And obviously, Lazard, Hardman, Cobb, Wilson, that's your main four. And you had two more spots because the Corey Davis retirement. Like, I was thinking, like, Gibson, I think, is going to make it, let alone off his special teams play, because he is a returner and he probably will end up
That's
returning
why I
picks for
had
this
him
team.
making it too.
Yeah, he'll end up returning punts for this team. And it's like, who else really stood out? Malik Taylor, not so much. I'm surprised he hasn't been cut yet. Brownlee, I think, was good in spurts, but it was like nothing overall, in my opinion, consistent. Listen, congratulations that he made the team. Obviously, I think he had like 2-3 receptions on Saturday night, but it wasn't a lot of steady progress, in my opinion. But again, he's going to be the sixth receiver on the team. He does play special teams. I think he'll be the gunner, or at least one of the gunners. So I did have 5. John, you had 6, and most likely, John, you'll end up being right.
Hey, thank you. And now for the tight end spot, we'll move on. And I'll just say with Brownlee, I am very impressed with his catch radius. I got to give him that. There were some balls that were thrown that I didn't think would be caught when I looked at some of the highlights or some of the footage I saw out there. The dude has some pretty good hands, so I'll give him that.
Right.
Real quickly before, I just want to address two things, 2 comments, and then something else, of course. Gibson looked impressive to me. Yeah, no, I mean, did you guys both project him to make the roster for the Jets?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay, so if the Jets do release him, which I don't think they will, I think the Giants might want to look into him as a return man, maybe.
Yeah, he's got some good speed.
Was talking about Jason Brownlee, but also because we're at the top of the hour, I thought I might advertise this, and also as well because I was advertising the Big Blue Coop Rock Party. We are now sponsored by SeatGeek. Once again, just going to do this at the top of every hour. Sponsored by SeatGeek. If you guys are looking to go to a concert, MetLife parking passes, going to a game, Giants, Yankees, what have you, now you can get $20 off your online ticket order with the promo code Big Blue in the Bronx. Big Blue in the Bronx. That's nothing abbreviated or nothing like that. So if you're going to a Giants game, you're going to anything, you can use that promo code. Trust me, it works. And we're just giving you guys something because, hey, listen, you guys have given us recognition, and now we can give something back to you as well. But I think thanks for Cager. I like him. I think he's tight end 3 for the Giants, but I'll shut my mouth in terms of that. And I'll let the Jeff fans continue.
All right, so the tight end spot, I got 3 making the roster. Was debating 4, but I think they're going to go with 3. And I have Conklin, Uzama, and Rucker. Same group as last year. Luca, agree, disagree?
Yeah, I actually went with 4 this time. I know, obviously first 3 is consensus. Conklin, Uzama, Rucker. Hopefully, in my opinion, I think Rucker will have a good enough season where he shakes out Uzama for that second spot in the tight end room.
I really do like
Rucker
too. I like him a lot.
I think he definitely I think, in my opinion, if he's given a long enough leash, he's going to take tight end too.
Now, let me ask you a question: can you get out of Uzama's contract for this year?
Let me.
I'll look that up. Actually.
You got it.
What's up, my man?
Alex is what's up, Hayes? Alex is going to look that up, but Uzama, like I was looking at the film experts, like the Joe Blewitts and the Michael Nanias of this world when it came to Jet X Factor. They said, Uzama's blocking ability last year was very overrated, and obviously he didn't get a lot of attention when it came to the passing game. And he's more of a check down guy. But Conklin, you could go downfield with Rucker. You could go downfield with Rucker. It's more of a plus blocker. So, Conklin seems to show some progress in the blocking game. But continue, Alex.
So if you do cut him or trade him before the 1st of June next year, it's really going to imbalance out. So whatever they see as a fit, it's about $5.9 million in dead cap, $5.3 million in savings. But if you release him post June 1st, you got a dead cap of $3 million, savings of $8 million, and then $2 million in dead cap rolling over next year. Well, next year after that would be 2025.
Right. And as I was continuing, I said they're going to take 4 tight ends. College friend of mine went to high school with Jeremy Ruckert at Lindenhurst. Yes, sir, the Long Island kid. And I think he will finally get his dream to be the tight end 2, or perhaps soon enough be the tight end 1. But Zach Kuntz, I think they're going to do exactly what they did to Ruckert. Although Kuntz is more of a project, he's a great athlete. Obviously, has a lot of size in him, good speed for a tight end his size. But I think this is like the Tim Boyle thing. He either is going to stay on the practice squad or he's going to be on the active roster and active on game days. I think another red shirt here.
I don't mean to cut you. I do see that Kuntz is probably going to make the practice squad. Because I was really debating whether he's gonna make the roster or not. I think he had a bad preseason showing. He just looks very raw, and like I've said before, like he was a guy that his draft stock, it got up a little higher, even though he was a late round pick, because he was beating up on like lower competition. But again, like there is some good athleticism that he does show, which is why I think they're going to work with him. I don't think he's going to play a single game this year. So again, 3, 4, very doesn't matter because Kuntz will probably be on the practice squad at least. So
Right.
moving on to the offensive lineman, I got 10 in this spot.
I
have the Jets rolling. So the starters, and I'll try and list it out from like left tackle to right tackle to start. Brown at left tackle, Tomlinson at left guard, McGovern at center, Vera Tucker at right guard, and Mekhi Becton, who they already announced is a starter, right tackle. Then you have the backups with Max Mitchell and Billy Turner as the swing tackles. Tippmann and Schweitzer are backup centers and guards. And then I also threw Carter Warren in there. But I do know that he is hurt, but I don't even know what they're doing with him. Like,
yeah, we don't know. We have no clue.
They haven't really announced an update, so I don't know if they're waiting to for when's the deadline again for when they can officially put guys on IR before it
I mean, the deadline to cut down rosters is tomorrow at 4.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, as I explained over the phone,
yeah,
if you want to put a guy on IR and not make him out for the season in just like the first 3 games, you have to keep him on the initial 53 past 4 p.m. Then you could say we're going to slam this guy and put him on IR.
That's what I think they're going to have because I don't know what the deal is with Carter Warren, but I think they are.
I was going to say, yeah, of course. Obviously going to keep him, but
I have a hot take. It wouldn't surprise me if they IR'd him for the entire season.
It wouldn't surprise me either. But again, how serious is the injury? We don't even know that.
Yeah, that's
why I'm saying that is that's to be a rest year kind of thing. Now, of course, I don't know that the NFL would probably kick in and say, look, you can't basically hide him, on IR or something like that. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you do have Max Mitchell, you do have Dwayne Brown and, Billy Turner, all that sort of stuff. They could use that spot and say, we're going to go out and get an extra offensive lineman or something and just say Carter Warren, it's a complete redshirt year.
And if that's the case, it takes away a tackle. We could use a guy like whether it's Lyle Collins that gets cut, whether it's a Dennis Kelly, we can use someone in that offense. I would like the Jets to go get some depth at tackle, just because I don't trust the health of our 2 starters. And quite frankly, of our backups either, although I don't think Turner really has a huge injury history. I could be wrong. I've not looked that up.
I will say this about your Lyle Collins point is, number one, I said this yesterday, this is my personal opinion. I don't think he's going to take money as a backup. However, if you think about it this way, he also, now, of course, once again, I don't think he's going to play backup. I don't think he's going to take that money. I think it's an ego thing. But he has played guard in his career. So
he does. Back with Dallas.
So, I mean, they probably won't do it where Laken Tomlinson's out or they take out Vera Tucker or move him to tackle. But if Lyle Collins is still off the street and there's something going on at the guard position, you could possibly sign him.
I would. That's not a bad idea either. I've literally suggested, hey, maybe we should give that guy AVT a tackle spot because he was pretty good.
Why not? As I said yesterday, he's a first-round pick. Might as well pay him like a tackle.
And let AVT is our best offensive lineman. I know he's a guard, but he is just because his versatility and his run blocking is incredible. Not that his pass blocking is bad, but Mike, you bring up a good point because I brought it up. The blood clots, I don't know. I hope to God Max Mitchell that doesn't come back because that can come back at any point. That can come back years from now for a guy for anyone. So we got to see with that. Luca, did you have 10 making it as well?
I had 9, so I obviously had the 5. I personally thought, hold on, let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I had 9. Obviously, you have Becton and Brown, the starters. The interior is McGovern, Tomlinson, and Vera Tucker, wherever you put it. I actually just recognized that I didn't even put Vera Tucker on my prediction. So, yes, John, it would be 10.
Okay.
Oh, so Vera
Then-
Tucker's not going to make the roster.
Yeah, trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
If AVT, I would explode if AVT did not make the roster. But obviously, he's healthy now. He's coming off that injury. I think it was like he had an injury a few weeks ago, but he's back. He's healthy now. But yeah, it's gonna be 10 linemen in my opinion. I think eventually they'll place Carter Warren on IR, making it 9.
Right. All right. So now we shift over to defense.
Yes.
Let's go to the defensive linemen, and I'm gonna throw the edge guys and the interior
That's
kind
fine.
of together. I have 10 total here as well. So it's 10 offensive linemen, 10 D linemen. I have now again. I don't know what is up with Carl Lawson. They have
Nobody
been
knows.
specific with the injuries. This is the Salah game that I hate playing. Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. The first he was like day to day. Now it's like weeks. I'm like, what is going on
That's
here?
why you can never trust Robert Saleh with injury.
Oh man, it's horrible.
His injury diagnoses, it's day to day. Well, it's now turned week to week.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So a Carter Warren situation might be the same with Carl Lawson in terms of going on the IR. I don't know. I have no clue what the injury situation is. But obviously, Lawson, Williams, Franklin Myers, and Jermaine Johnson should all be the starters. Okay? I'm not even going to debate that. Then, as like your second and third stringers, so that's 4 guys. Then you have McDonald, our first-round pick, Bryce Huff, who was a good rotational pass rusher, Al Woods up the middle, Quentin Jefferson, Michael Clemens, and then Solomon Thomas taking the 10th and final spot for the defensive line.
No Tanzel Smart.
No.
I think he makes the practice squad. If not, he'll be picked up by some other team. I think the injury does hurt him.
Here's my question, and then I'm gonna say something. You guys will tell me a rating and then explain it. Also, shouts to Crackle Nuts. Yes, Big Pat. Big Pat's right. Definitely hit the like button. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest I ever seen him play a preseason game. What I will say is this. Robert Saleh did say a few weeks ago, he kind of like shoved Bryce Huff off to the side and said, if he doesn't make this team, he'll make another 53. How legitimately worried from a 1 to 10 scale are you going to be? How legitimately worried 1 to 10 are you think that like he's not going to make the roster?
I've grown less worried in my opinion. I think it's like a 4 or 3. I'm not super worried because he's constantly dominated every game.
Yeah, I was gonna say a 3, but like I'm like, okay, when he said that originally, that kind of worried me. But then I watched him play, and I'm like, there's no way they can cut him. I read you like he was one of the best in preseason. I know it's preseason, but still, like how could he not make the roster? It's nothing. It's not like I've been clamoring for this guy for a year or two now. Like it's not like this is like all of a sudden a new development. Like I think he's always been a good pass rusher, especially on third down.
Just a quick input. I think another name the Giants should possibly attack is Malik Reed, former Bronco. Just putting it out there.
All right. So there's 10 defensive linemen. The linebacker spot, I got 5 guys. CJ Mosley and Quincy are obviously the 2 guys that were locks. Then you got Sherwood. I added in there, Zaire Barnes and Chaz Surratt.
Okay, I actually have 4 this time around. I think I think Surratt is probably going to make the team at some point. Not the initial 53. I think he goes on the practice squad. Maybe he's sought out by another team because I thought he played well in the preseason. The Browns game was a very impressive performance. Obviously went down for about 2 games, and then he came back with a solid performance. But overall, Surratt, I think he makes the practice squad. I think they'll roll with 4 linebackers because, again, the Jets sometimes want to run the 4-2-5 where you have only 2 linebackers, and sometimes you could put safeties as hybrid linebackers. They'll do that they'll probably do that with Whitehead. They'll probably do it with Amos. So there's going to be no really need for a linebacker 5. God forbid somebody goes down. Knock wood, they don't. But I don't think they'll need a linebacker 5 just yet. But I would like Surratt to make the roster.
Personally, in my opinion, I thought Surratt was the best coverage linebacker we had.
That's fair.
I know that's a little bit of a hot take, but at times I thought Sherwood and Barnes, they had some nice moments, and I'm glad both are on the team. But I thought they were a little bit slow with their reaction times.
Yeah, I
Actually,
can somewhat see that. I think Sherwood's smart. I think Barnes is smart. Sometimes
I
Barnes
think
tries to go for the big
I think
hit.
Sherwood's an excellent tackler, and I think Barnes will get there. I do like what I see out of Barnes. But I honestly thought Surratt was the best one in coverage out of the three of them.
Yeah, Buffalo Jet fan tweeted this, and I actually agree. I like Zaire Barnes' athletic traits but in potential, but he's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Picked on in coverage by second and third string quarterbacks all preseason long.
Mm-hmm.
Surratt is a significantly better player. Starting to lean towards 5 linebackers, but then no trading. Just tell us, Joe.
Right. And again, like you saw it, especially in I think Surratt really popped off in that Hall of Fame game against the Browns.
Yeah.
And then I started watching him more. I know he had the injury. I know that probably brought his stock down a little, but I hope they don't cut him because he's going to be I think he's going to be a good player for somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
He could be like a special team or whatever, but
even if you want to start him out with that's fine. But because I don't know.
Linebacker.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think Barnes has got the athleticism. I think Sherwood's the good tackler. Maybe you put more Sherwood in running situations.
Yeah, he's more of a run stuffer. Surratt is. I think
let
Surratt's
Surratt be
better
in
with
coverage,
reading the
man.
defense.
Yeah, I think Surratt's a lot. I think he's smarter in my opinion.
Because you obviously saw the Kellen Mond play. We obviously did the game where
Mm-hmm.
where Mond was looking over the field. It was zone coverage, and he just did a great job of reading the eyes of the quarterback and saw the ball come right to him.
Yeah, like there were times where like Sherwood and Barnes, like both of them, they just looked like 2 or 3 seconds late to the play, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, Barnes is not an automatic starter. Obviously, he'll be in
No.
like special team plays, but like he was drafted very late in the draft.
Yeah, no, of course. I know Barnes is a pro. I know they just took him, so obviously he's going to stay on the roster. They want to work with him. All right, but moving on to the corner, and I had 5, and I know I'm going to be wrong as Luca breaks up another cat fight.
That's 5.
5 times. Wow, I would have never expected that. But and also I got to throw the caveat: Brandon Echols is not going to count on the 53-man roster because of the suspension for week 1. So I didn't include him.
Here's my question. Like, does it count? Can you put him on the suspension list right away, or do you have to put him on the 53 and then put him on the suspension list? Let me look that up for you, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure on the rules of that one. I knew you told me about the injuries, but like when I saw like people putting out their list, I'm like, they weren't including Echols, who obviously, if it wasn't for the suspension, would obviously be on the roster. But nevertheless, I didn't include him. But when he comes back after one game, he will be on. So I had obviously Sauce and DJ as your starters. You know, Michael Carter is another fine slot corner. I really like the depth they have at corner. I think a very good group.
So
the other,
your answer, as far as that goes, is he can go right to the suspension list. He doesn't have to wait to be on the 53.
Yeah. So then I had Michael Carter. I had Justin Hardy, who's a corner, but he's a special teamer, so that's fine. I put him at that. And then the guy I had was Jimmy Moreland.
Now he's on IR.
Yeah.
And per the rules, as Alex quotes them, he's probably out for the year, unfortunately. Because I liked him in camp. I liked what he showed.
I was either going to say him or my other debate was Craig James. But I know Craig James is cut, which means Bryce Hall's on this damn roster again.
I liked him 2 years ago, not now.
He
was just so bad against the Giants.
Oh, the angles he takes with tackling is just awful.
And he doesn't turn his head around on when he
his recognition was terrible. His angles on tackles were terrible. And it's just like overall awareness, like no football. I don't want to say he's like dumb, but like he's like you didn't see the football IQ.
Well, just hope that Sauce, DJ Reed, and Michael Carter don't get hurt, and just hope that Bryce Hall mainly as a special teams role. And I guess the one thing is that like it's the last year of his rookie contract, so can we get a snack bag because it can cover better than Bryce Hall?
Awful.
And I don't know, can cover better.
And I really am like. Here's the thing that gets me, because I know this was in the infamous class of Joe Douglas, his first draft year.
Yeah.
Is it really like? Can he just admit he was wrong here? Like I get it. You want to be right with draft picks. What?
Can't do that with Ashton Davis.
We're gonna get to that in a sec. But
Is it the first two? I thought it was the only one.
I thought it was one. Maybe it was two. I'll
take a look. Shouts to Evan, by the way, in the chat.
What's up, Evan? Maybe Armin's right. But like, Jesus, man. Because Luca, who did you have at corner? Anyone else? Or he just says, never mind. Go ahead. I thought
cornerback, I had Sauce, DJ Reed, Michael Carter. I had 6. Justin Hardy, I had Bryce Hall because of the Eccles suspension and Jimmy Moreland. Now Moreland has hit IR, so that's no good.
Tough for Moreland. I thought he would have made the roster. I liked some of his coverage skills, but it is what it is. He obviously got hurt. So safety.
Can I also acknowledge something, John? I don't mean to interrupt you, but we were talking about Desmond King earlier. I would target him because he's a backup slot corner.
But I will say this. There's 2 things I want to say. And this is after my prediction as well. I think a subject we should do and save is players to target on the waiver wire and guys that on the roster right now as initial 53 could be cut to make room for other players on the waiver wire. I think that's something we should get into, but I think the 53-man roster, I mean, you guys tell me what you think.
No, I was just throwing out a suggestion. I wasn't making a list.
All right.
But John,
I'm not as worried about that because I do trust Carter and when Eccles comes back to play solid enough.
Yeah,
I know
of
they're
course.
slot guys, but I really do like Eccles. Just bonehead fool got suspended. But
yeah.
Nevertheless, I don't really see the need for them to go after. I mean, maybe they'll get depth at corner because the Moreland hurt or Moreland got hurt. Maybe they'll pick someone back up. But nevertheless, I don't think that's like a huge need for them.
Right.
I'm not really too worried about the corner group. But yeah, like I said, tough for Moreland. I liked what I saw.
I did too.
But yeah. Nevertheless, the safety group, I have 4.
Okay.
I had Whitehead and Adams, the starters, who I wish we saw Tony Adams more in the preseason, but I guess he's so ready.
I disagree with the way the Jets handled that, if you want my honest opinion. And
I thought he could have played more.
Evan and MH, I'll definitely get to your comments in a second, but it's just like he's been, a role player for most of his career, if anything. And
Tony Adams was a UDFA last year. He was undrafted free agent last year. No. I'm going to your point.
No, I know. It's just like you're giving him the position right away. Like, obviously, we didn't know who's going to get the more playing time at safety. I'll go to the Giants side for a sec. But, like, Jason Pinnock was a star in camp, and he played he played against the Panthers, he played against the Lions. Like, and then he won his spot. Like, he's probably going to be the starting safety rotating with Dane Belton alongside Xavier McKinney. But like Tony Adams, as you said, undrafted free agent last year, why are you giving him the spot automatically?
He's looked
because he could shit
extremely
the bed
well
in the regular season.
He could, and I hope that doesn't happen. But I also I'm gonna be wrong. Besides Whitehead and Adams, I had Adrian Amos and Trey Dean, who they cut Trey Dean, which leaves one other guy who they're gonna keep. And it's pretty much the same thing with the Bryce Hall. Ashton Davis looks like he's going to make the roster again.
You know what the thing is? I get more of Hall in terms of, the Eccles stuff. Obviously, if Eccles wasn't suspended, he would be probably cut immediately, and it makes sense to cut him immediately if Eccles wasn't suspended. Hall's just the guy there for that 1 week. But Ashton Davis making the roster still boggles my mind. Like, as Armin said, what do they have on him? But more realistic question is, what do they see in Ashton Davis? He had a solid preseason. There's no lie there, but it's like, he doesn't have that strong football IQ. Like, his misses are kind of really bad.
They're hard.
But like, Trey Dean was a better run stuffer. Like, there's legit film on him to suggest that. And Ashton Davis, like, everybody's touts him as this great special teamer, obviously as a gunner, but the one position that he played in college that he has not played in position since is kick returner or punt returner. Why not try him there?
I mean, it's not like they need it now, but they messed that up. Luca, do you want to hear the really quickly? Don't mean to get too sidetracked, but the infamous 2020 class. Now, like a few years later now.
Can I try
I
to?
was gonna.
I know I'm not the Jeff fan here, but can I try to name them?
Sure. Go ahead.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
How many picks are there?
Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total picks.
Okay, 9 total picks. All right. So we got Mekhi Becton,
That's 1. Yep.
Ashton Davis,
That's 2.
Bryce Hall,
Yep. That's 3.
Cameron Clark.
That's 4.
Okay, so we got some more. LaMichael Pirine.
Actually,
That's 5.
with
so we
Kansas
got
City,
5.
he I don't know if he's getting cut yet though.
Probably. All right. So how many more defensive players? How many more offensive players?
That you named. You didn't name him. There's 2. There's
Alex, one should be blatantly obvious,
yeah.
in my opinion. 2 actually.
Denzel Mims.
Mims is 1.
Okay.
That's 6.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. Nathan Shepard was 19, right?
He was drafted in 2018, actually.
Yeah, he was a few
Okay,
years before
so
that.
Off. I might be off with this one again. Kyle Phillips.
No.
No, he wasn't even drafted.
Okay. So how many defensive players? How many offensive players I got left?
What did you named? Becton, Mims, Davis,
Mike. I was looking at the chat for this one.
Run. Who
Mike's
did
got
I'm
that.
out. Yeah, James Morgan was 1, so that's 7.
Pinnock was not drafted with Gase, right? No, he
No,
was drafted
He was drafted
21.
the year after.
Yeah,
Okay, so how many? We add Morgan to that list.
Morgan to the list. So you have 2 people left. One guy is a defensive player, and you one other guy.
Braden
special
Mann.
teams. There's 8. Yep, you got one more guy.
All right, so you said defensive or offensive?
Defensive player. Do you want me to give you the college?
We're not going to
Is that
give you the
gonna help?
college. No, don't give the
Bryce Hall.
college.
Okay.
No, we already named him.
Okay. All right, corner. Shit. Damn. Javelin Guidry.
No.
No, he was undrafted. I think the year after, actually.
Damn. Corner. God damn. I'm gonna stab myself when I don't get this one. Corner. Just trying to think. I'm gonna give myself a minute and then I'm gonna give up. Corner for the Jets.
It doesn't have to. I'm just going to say right now, it's not a hint. It doesn't have to be that corner position.
What the fuck does that mean?
We didn't say it was a
It's
corner.
not limited to corner.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna give up.
One. Oh, damn! I was going to start the timer.
Well,
Do
he
you want me
gave
to get
up.
an extra minute out of it?
Yeah, I'll start the timer. And
Okay.
go.
60 seconds. Don't help him out, chat. Please let him try it.
Well, I'm not looking at the chat of the way. I'm gonna go look at the chat once we're done this. Corner. So Bryce Hall's a no. Obviously, Sauce definitely not. DJ Reed, no. Free agent. Brandon Eccles, no, right? No for Eccles.
No, he was drafted 2 years ago.
Michael Carter, no. Javelin Guidry, no. Is he currently on the team?
Guidry is on No, he was
this
cut,
guy.
I think.
No, he's not on the team anymore. He's not on
Typical.
the team anymore.
Typical Jets. Okay.
40 seconds passed.
All right. It's not Bless Austin, is it?
No, it is not
No,
Bless
he was
Sauce.
drafted in 2019, actually.
Neither is Arthur Millette. I'm going to give up.
No.
Arthur
The answer
Millette was
is-
actually a product beforehand. But, John, reveal the answer, please.
Jabari Zuniga,
Ugh.
defensive end out of Florida.
He did nothing.
You know, it's funny. You guys drafted back-to-back busts in that order. Remember Ja'Kai Politi? Whatever the hell his name
Yeah,
is.
that was awful.
Ja'Kai Polite.
That
That
was
was-
awful.
That
Same
might be one
college
of the
than
biggest
West.
idiot drafts of all time. He didn't even play in training camp with you guys.
He was awful.
No, he played in training camp. He just got cut at the end of the preseason. Everybody asked why. He had character problems.
By the way,
Awful.
guys, I'm not ignoring your chat questions. I'm actually starring them. We're gonna get to the Giants predictions soon, so I know I'm gonna get a lot of questions about that. Dwayne Brown.
Dwayne Brown.
the answer.
But to put the rest of the 53 people out, because I've already named 50, the specialist. Zerline, obviously the kicker. Thomas Morstead, the punter. And Thomas Hennessy, the long snapper. No issues, no complaints there for me. Luca, I'm pretty sure you're on par.
No,
issues.
I mean, especially that we don't have a punter who shanks punts anymore.
Oh, God. I mean, Morstead looked fine. Zerline looked fine. Like, I had no complaints. for once.
You realize when Thomas Morstead's, let's just say he punts all that, and when he goes to the sideline, he actually sprints.
That was on Hard Knocks, right?
Yeah, he's like.
Well,
I find the funniest
I'm
shit.
sorry, I forgot when we were showing John Hard Knocks. He fell asleep the first few minutes.
I was on vacation. I was tired.
Oh, someone's tired.
Don't even start it. Don't even start it.
I will. All right, so let's get to you guys are all done your 53?
That's our 53. I mean, I have clips from like the Giants game, but if you want to do your 53, that's no problem.
Because I know I'm going to answer a lot of questions in chat and all that sort of stuff. So I got graphics from my video that I did a couple of days ago, and I have, as of right now, I only have one wrong. How many did you guys get wrong so far?
Hold up, I gotta go back and
IR does not count, right? Like if a player unexpectedly went on IR, that's not a wrong prediction.
That should count, honestly.
Okay.
Okay, we didn't know Jimmy Moreland was injured though.
Who cares?
Fine, we'll count it. So 1, 2. So far I got 2 wrong.
Dre Dean and Jimmy Moreland?
Yeah.
Okay, Luker.
By the way, I do feel that Trey Dean will either be on the practice squad or get picked up by someone. I thought he was pretty good.
Luka.
All right. Trey Dean, I marked an X down, which means I missed it. I missed that. I had Bryce Hall making the roster. Jimmy Moreland technically is 2. There's one player that has made the roster against my expectations, so you would say that's Jason Brownlee.
I mean, that technically could be a swap if you think about it.
Yeah,
but the rest of the roster has to come out, so we'll probably determine that in a few days. But I will say this: so here's my offense. I got the Giants carrying 2 quarterbacks, Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor. I got Saquon Barkley, Matt Breida, and Eric Gray. I don't think the Giants keep any other running backs. I think Deshaun Corbin should be running back 4 if they choose to keep. But we'll see what happens in that area. I don't think he's kept, but I mean, once again, he did play well in the preseason despite what stats say. I know I got a question about the wide receivers in chat. Isaiah Hodgins, Sterling Shepard, Paris Campbell, Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton are obvious. I think Wan'Dale Robinson does come off the PUP list, and they maybe either make him inactive the first 2-3 weeks, or they just, they play him or lesser role. And I know this is going to throw everybody off the boat, but Jamison Crowder, I think if anything, he deserves to make a roster spot a little bit more because he's less older than a guy like Cole Beasley. And a little bit of special teams versatility in there as well. So there's that. But Crowder played all 3 preseason games and actually was solid for the Giants. Tight end, it's not too much up in the air right now. Darren Waller, Daniel Bellinger, and I think Lawrence Cager also as well. What was I going to say? Tommy Sweeney has not been cut yet. Chris Myrick has been IR'd. Ryan Jones is not going to make the roster, in my opinion. As far as the offensive line goes, Andrew Thomas, Ben Bredesen, John Michael Schmitz, Josh Azudu, Evan Neal, and Mark Lewinsky. Those are the starters. And then backups, Marcus McKeithen, 5th-round pick from UNC last year. I think Tyree Phillips does make it. Didn't play any preseason games at all, but I think the Giants are so low on tackle depth that he's going to make the initial 53. And then Sean Harlow, who I don't know how he did in the preseason. I don't know for sure, but
you think I was going to ask? You think he makes the I'm sorry, you think he makes the roster with all the interior depth you have? Like Azudu could play inside, Bredesen could play center or guard. Schmitz is obviously center.
Those guys can't play center. Harlow can. So I think Harlow stays for right now. Let's see what else. The end of the bench guys. I think Cole Beasley makes it over Crowder unless he's injured. At the moment, Cole Beasley is injured. I don't know if he returned to practice or not. Think Wan'Dale goes up on the PUP. He's already on the PUP, so they're not going to have to make any adjustments like that. They could say, okay, he's going to miss the first 4 to 6 weeks. Would get Beasley on the roster. Something tells me Beasley would be a big help against the Cowboys. I mean, if he destroys his former team, you'll see no complaints out of me. Beasley going to take the roster spot. Crowder will get cut when Wan'Dale is back. I think that's possible. and the Feebles just blew another lead, Jacob says. I think John is very happy, I think.
Two outs. They had 1 out left, and Trevor got.
Anyway, MH says, bro, I wish I knew these players. I'm so out of the loop. You're good. Listen, if you're out of the loop, if you think you're out of the loop, I'm here to inform you. No Sills, Beasley, another potential. Crowder over Beasley. Yeah, I know that's a little bit of a hot take for some, but I think Crowder does make it. Yes, I know you've been busting my chops about David Sills. I don't think David Sills makes it. I think he makes a practice squad. I don't think he makes the active roster. John is a Giant fan, falls asleep on Jets Hard Knocks.
Oh my God, enough. I missed like the first 2 minutes. Jesus.
What wide receiver gets cut? We have too many Slayton, Crowder, Campbell, Shep, Wandell, Hyatt. As you guys just saw, I think Sills gets cut. I think a couple other guys get cut, including Cole Beasley.
As somebody said on Jets Twitter, I think it was Jets Twitter, is the Giants wide receiver core is Jalen Hyatt and there are 18 other slot receivers.
That's such an overrated, overhyped narrative. I will say that.
I mean, Wandell Robinson, Jamison Crowder, Cole Beasley. Hodgins is not a slot guy, or is he?
No,
he's an outside guy.
Shep plays outside.
Shepard's outside.
Right. So little overhyped there. I'm crazy, but I think the NFL roster should be 85. That's what it is in college. I mean, that would employ a lot of different people and prices would go up, but
I mean, would the salary cap go down?
It is possible, or it might go up. John wasn't moved by Salah's crow speech. Oh yeah,
I'll be moved when we win games.
I think he was just a pinch more moved when Salah called out the offensive line.
Well, that wasn't it like that was the second episode.
Yeah, it was the second episode. The first episode.
How many more episodes are there besides tomorrow?
There's 3. There was 3 that came out already. This is gonna be the 4th.
This is the last one.
How many more? Okay, just checking.
I thought it was 5.
Maybe it's either 4 or 5. I gotta look it up.
All right,
you might be right.
Taking the lead over the Mets. What up to Booyah in the chat? More games, so the roster should be expanded.
That's
the crowded slot room. I agree, Bill. I agree. I think again, Shepard's an outside receiver. Alexer, he was tired after not hitting the blackjack table.
Hitting at the blackjack table.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's funny because I did play blackjack.
Any surprise cuts in your opinion? I'll definitely get to that, Evan. Just cooked up the best mac and cheese, Giants sponsored with side of Coke. The Coke ruins it.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, the mac and cheese sounds good.
I didn't eat dinner yet.
Yeah, I think this is a very good philosophical question. Guys, teach me this. Why are roster cuts so important? I know football, every position is critical, but I believe some of the smaller guys may not amount to a lot. No disrespect. Well, I mean, the back end of the roster is pretty important.
It's depth.
It's depth.
It's guys of injury, yeah.
I think a lot of people, and I'm not saying anyone in the chat, but I think this is just a common perception. I think that special teams is severely undervalued by a lot of different people who make roster predictions. I'm not talking about returners. I'm talking about guys that do punt coverage, guys that jam punt coverage, guys who are personal protectors for the punters. I think that is severely undervalued because at the end of the day, that's how back-end guys make the team. Now, once again, there's obviously that bigger perspective of this many guys get cut, this many guys are on the street and stuff like that. But it is important. It is important. And you will see guys move from team to team. And, of course, the waiver wire is a great impact. So I'm not going to say it's my favorite day in the world, but it's definitely an interesting day. Interesting 3 days to say when these guys are getting cut and we're watching who gets cut. Just going to go down to the chat a little bit. You never know. It's 17 games. True. You need guys who are versatile, smart, and maybe waiver wire claims who can help your team. Again, like that's another underrated part. The Giants did a lot last year. Jason Pinnock has been a severe help. Nick McLeod, Henry Mondo was another guy. Tyree Phillips, backup offensive tackle. He ended up starting 3 games.
I mean, hell,
to get got.
Just to Jets' point, when it came to the waiver wire, you know who we acquired off the waiver wire? John Franklin Myers, and he's a starting defensive lineman on our team.
Exactly. So I think that's an underrated aspect of being a GM is finding the nit guys. Like, if you want to go to baseball for 2 seconds, Brian Cashman finding like Clay Holmes or Jose Trevino and them being good in their time. And then compare it to, football where Jason Pinnock started a load of games for the Giants last year when Dane Belton was hurt and stuff like that. So that's, once again, one of the more important parts of this time of year.
Yeah, you could draft all
Hodgins,
these star. You could draft all these star. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, to Mike's point, it wasn't around this time of year, but he was claimed off waivers. And look, he was probably our second or first best receiver second half of the season. So, Alex, what are your thoughts? Alexa, what are your thoughts on the McKinney price range? Apparently, he's looking for 10 to 13 mil per year. That's not terrible. I mean, that's not terrible.
It's not. How much did Jesse Bates get? 16 million.
Yeah, for Atlanta's defense, something like that.
4 years, 64 million, I believe, this contract.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I know I'm gonna sound like an old boomer here, but I'm for more preseason games. I feel like that a lot of there's again when I kind of denounced this in 2020, 2021, I'm like the small guys, the back end guys, the UDFAs, those guys are getting cheaped out here because the bigger stars want more games and stuff like that. And
yet fucking Mahomes and those guys are playing in the preseason.
Right, and Alvin Kamara even came out and said 17 games is stupid, but
I never understood. So we take the preseason, but we add to the regular season, which is only more wear and tear on bodies for the NFL, the NFL stars that complain. But also, like, it's not like they play a whole lot.
No,
like it really isn't for like obviously like I'm just gonna throw out Patrick Mahomes, right? It's not like he's playing like every preseason game.
Exactly.
Right.
You're playing like one game, not even a game, a drive, 2 drives. That's it.
1 or 2 drives for some of these stars. I mean, other teams are different than others. I get that. It's for a lot of rookies, second-year guys, undrafted guys.
Exactly.
You gotta fill out depth.
Just my opinion. See if I can miss anything. That's why Shane was so adamant about middle of the draft, depth in middle rounds. Exactly. And you never know who's going to get cut. Like, I think Jose Ramirez, not the third baseman, by the way, the defensive end from East Michigan, he just got cut. And he was a 6th-round pick. So, like, there's some teams that will pick up those type of guys. Quincy Roche was picked up by the Giants when he was cut.
Yeah, he's with the Steelers now, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he went back to the Steelers. The Giants' new staff really didn't like him too much. I was
going to add something, but I just want to add, Jacob, I completely agree with Jacob's point. It's like, it's the same thing with like, it goes both ways. Well, not really both ways. There's 2 points that you can come out of what Jacob said. You could draft guys well in the first round and, draft them well. But if you have depth, if you don't draft guys well in the second, third rounds to have like potential role players, it doesn't mean shit. Just like if you sign a big free agent and you don't have depth guys behind him in case he gets hurt, it doesn't mean shit.
Exactly. Like another thing too, I know we were pounding the Brock Purdy subject yesterday, and Armand was making us go back to the 2017 draft. One thing I commend the 49ers, and I would have to look back at some individual drafts as well for them, is like they missed on Trey Lance, they missed on Solomon Thomas, but what they did do is they got George Kittle in the 5th round.
Aziz Al-Shaair was a good linebacker.
Aziz Al-Shaair. Fred Warner was a 3rd-round pick.
Brock Purdy, 7th round.
Brock Purdy, 7th round. So it's those
DJ Reed, 5th round.
Right. So those are the key call guys that you got to find in the later round. And once again, like it's always great to talk about the 1st-round picks and the stars, but you got to have depth in areas. You can't be going on the scrap heap always. And I think that's a bit the problem really with our 2 teams the last few years. By the way, guys, we are 3 likes away from 15, so let's definitely get there. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We already went to 17, so let's get to 20. So my YouTube page didn't reload. Stupid YouTube. Anyway, what was I going to say? Armin says, we're talking about the 49ers. Let's be nice. That comment's about to come up. But I'm going to get to the defense in a second because I know I did get a question about whether Baldonado would make the roster. Brandon Ayuk, 3rd-round pick. You can never have too much depth. That's true. I think it's going to get to a point where maybe a receiver, running back, or tight end sits out a Thursday game if they're banged up. Also, as well, like Isaiah Pacheco was a late-round pick. CEH was a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Who do they like better? They like Pacheco better. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and totally say that draft, like where you're drafted is overvalued, because I don't think that's necessarily true all the way. But I think it is a point to make that you have to get your third, your fourth, your fifth round pick guys.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Montana was a third round pick.
Brady was
Brady was a
Seventh
sixth.
round.
Russell Wilson was a fourth. So again,
Brandon
like,
Moore was an undrafted free agent.
right. I mean, as of right now, the Giants picked up a solid guy in Ben Bredesen. He was a fourth round pick of the Ravens, and they gave up on him. So, but this again, keep your questions and comments coming, guys. I'm going to go to the defense now and special teams to answer. I think this was Jacob's question. And then also we're going to get to the cuts too, which will answer Evan's question. So this is the defensive line. I have them keeping 6. I don't know if they will actually do this, but I don't really see them cutting DJ Davidson, who was a 6th-round pick last year out of Arizona State. Jordan Riley impressed a lot in the preseason, and then you got your 4 guys who are going to be in there mostly with Dexter Lawrence, Thunder Williams, Raheem Nunez-Roches, and Ashawn Robinson. Special teams, Casey Kreider, Jamie Gillen, and Graham Gano. That's obvious. Inside linebacker, I think the Giants only keep 5. One of the guys that, may or may not make the roster is a guy named Cam Brown, who you guys are probably familiar with in the comments section. And I'll get to some of the explanations for the cuts when we get to them. Darian Beavers and Micah McFadden and Carter Coughlin, who's had a decent preseason, made solid plays against the Jets. He's also a special teamer, can rush the passer, so he could do a lot of different things. I got one wrong here with the outside linebackers. Sean Bauer has already been cut, but I thought he was a guy that would at least make the roster for the initial 53 and be swapped out for a better player. I don't really see a reason O'Shane Ximines should make this roster. Jihad Ward is another guy that's going to make the roster because of his vet presence. Cornerback-wise, I think probably I'll be right for the most part. I would be surprised if they keep any other backups that were playing in the preseason. So you do have your starters in Adoree, Deontay Banks, and Trey Hawkins. Cordell Flott they're going to keep because he's a 3rd-round pick from last year. Darnay Holmes, I knew he was going to make the roster. I didn't know if he was going to get traded or not, but the Giants decided to have him take a pay cut, and now he's in the building. I think they do take Aaron Robinson off PUP, and if anything, they could make him inactive for the first 2-3 games if his injury is still that serious. One of the other things that's like a pop-up question is the safety room. Jason Pinnock, Xavier McKinney, Dane Belton, and Javarius Owens. We don't know how serious the injury to Javarius Owens is. Apparently, it's a hamstring injury, so those always come back to bite. But Bobby McCain had a concussion, so I think they're going to make that decision tomorrow, whether he gets cut or not. Nick McLeod didn't play any preseason games. Yeah, he started a bunch for the Giants last year, but, I mean, they could give it to somebody else.
Has he been hurt?
Nick McLeod has been hurt, yes. Didn't play at all in those preseason games. Rangers win 5-3. Thank you, Trevor Gott. Brady was a 6th-round pick, 199. I don't see DJ Davidson making it. I mean, he might get picked up by another team if that's the case. But I still think he's like a solid player to have. Not that you should always keep 6 defensive linemen. Luca, what the fuck are you doing?
Listen, I can still see, so it's all good.
Clowning around.
It's just covering my eyes, but continue.
You look like SpongeBob when he tried robbing a bank with Patrick, and they put the.
But I mean, DJ Davidson, we'll see what happens. Zach Wilson was a first. There's so many variables when these guys coming out for the draft. I remember Randy Moss slipped in the draft over pot, and the media acted like he committed armed robbery. Yeah, Jalen Carter might be in that same exact situation. Yeah, 1st-round pick. Jacob also brings up that Zach Wilson was a first.
Yep.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, listen, most of the time that shit
Jacob
gets
asked you a question regarding Trey Hawkins.
You see him as more as a safety. I'm going to make a take that's probably been heard before. He's going to start week 1 against Dallas. So,
really?
Yeah, no, I think he's going to start week 1 against Dallas. I don't think Flott's going to start. I don't think Holmes is going to start. Dory will be the slot guy against CeeDee Lamb. And then the outside receivers, Brandon Cooks, will probably face Deontay Banks, and whoever the 3rd guy is will probably face Trey Hawkins. It's going to be tough, but let's just see if the Giants can keep up. LMAO at Luca, and this time not because of his car comments. Well, which car comments?
Is he talking about? Nah, I don't remember saying anything about a car. Unless he's talking about Joe Cat. That's the one thing.
Oh, the Eli Garrett car debate that
Yes.
Joe Cat is still wrong about. Okay, so lastly, let's get to cuts. Now, some of the guys have already been cut. This graphic has not been updated with the parentheses, but these are my predicted cuts. Tommy DeVito, I think he gets cut but makes the practice squad. Jay Sean Corbin, I think he probably makes the practice squad. I think he gets cut or swiped up by another team. Gary Brightwell, I think they might IR just for the rest of the season. I haven't heard anything in terms of like how he's doing with progress. James Robinson's been cut. I think David Sills makes the practice squad because of his connection with Daniel Jones. Jaden Mickens has already been cut. Cole Beasley, I think, gets cut. Colin Johnson already got cut. Khalil Pimpleton, I'm surprised they didn't cut him yet, but he's the guy on special teams. They may keep him on the practice squad. Bryce Ford Wheaton is already IR'd for the rest of the year with a torn ACL, so there's no way he's making the roster. He'll be back next year. Chris Myrick has been IR'd for the rest of the year unless they cut him a few weeks in. Ryan Jones, I don't think he makes the roster. Maybe the practice squad. Tommy Sweeney, the same thing. Corey Cunningham, Julian Davenport, and Jack Anderson have already been cut, along with Wyatt Davis. Shane Lemieux and Matt Parrott, they're on the roster as of right now, so they could make it in a swing role. But I do predict the Giants go elsewhere in terms of that area. Donovan Jeter and Kevin Atkins have already been cut. Kobe Smith played really well in the preseason, so it wouldn't surprise me to see him on the practice squad. And then Ryder Anderson is hurt, so they may just IR him and say, okay, we'll bring you back next year or cut him and all that sort of stuff. Brandon Bryant's already been cut. Ray Wilborn has not been cut yet, but probably will be. Same thing could be said with Deontay Johnson. Cam Brown, he's a guy that's up in the air, in my opinion. It's the last year of his rookie contract, but didn't play well in the preseason. I thought his worst game was against the Detroit Lions and didn't play much after that due to injury. And Haba Baldonado, I initially picked him to make the roster, but I don't think he will. I think he's a little too silent when it comes to the preseason. And I think the Giants will find elsewhere for edge help. Same thing goes with O'Shane Ximenez. I don't like him. Doesn't do anything against the run. In terms of the passing game, he has the same 2 pass rush moves. The Giants have no depth, in my opinion, at corner behind the 4 or 5 guys I listed. So I think they will look elsewhere. Aurorier sucked. Jamon Green. All those cornerbacks that I listed as cuts, they sucked in the Jets game. I'm just going to be completely transparent, as we'll go to this for a second. But back to the cuts. Bobby McCain, I think he had a real nice shot to make the roster, but if Randall Cobb didn't blindside him, I think he makes the roster, but not in this case. Alex Cook, I think, makes the practice squad. I think Cam Lyons probably goes out and makes the practice squad just as a backup long snapper, and then Nick McLeod is a toss-up along with Cam Brown because of injury and all that stuff. So that's my 53 Carr Jones comments. Who is better?
Oh, I still stick by that Carr is better than Jones. But that's just me. That's not to open up a debate.
Is Gallup not with Dallas?
He is with
Gallup
Dallas.
is with Dallas. Yes.
But,
So it's Gallup. It's CD Lamb. Alexer, or do you have all draft picks making the roster this year? Yeah, I do. I have all draft picks making the 53-man roster. So I don't think anyone, in my opinion, misses it in terms of the draft class. John, I think, is breaking up a fight in the street or something or whatever he's doing.
So we're breaking up fights tonight? I guess that's the story.
I just listen. I mean, John decided to disappear, so maybe we ought to start a counter for him since he was nagging you about that. But I will say this: do you want to move? Oh, now John's back.
Sorry, I had to go just take care of something. What happened?
No, I was just saying I finished up my my 53. Mm-hmm. So now I did bring this up earlier. Do you want to talk about guys that could maybe be moved off the roster or moved off the roster for a better waiver wire guy or any waiver wire guy that you're looking into? I know Luca talked about. Armin says that you're celebrating the Mets choke job.
By the way, Hayes, Luca's right. Carr is clearly better.
So we'll see this year. I mean, I still think Carr is a better quarterback, but he's getting paid about. Actually, I think Jones is getting paid more than Derek Carr. I
The
think.
own Giants fan right here saying it. Whoa, who would have thought?
Yeah, I think Darian Beavers makes it. I know people might indicate him as a surprise cut. It would be surprising, but again, he's coming off an ACL, so it wouldn't be too surprising. Luke, I know you mentioned Desmond King earlier.
Yes, Desmond King got cut by the Texans, and he is a backup nickel. We don't really have a backup nickel cornerback. Justin Hart is obviously a special teamer. Bryce Hall's more on the outside. He has the height for the outside. Jimmy Moreland obviously just got injured, and he's probably out for the year. So that's somebody I'd like to pay attention to. And he's also, as I said, King is a special teamer who could possibly return kicks.
Okay. All right. John, go back to bed. Alex, you put your glasses on. You look smarter. I'll still say that I think Carr is slightly better. Yeah, Carr is a little better, but it could change. I agree. I agree. I mean, Daniel Jones has everything in front of him this year, and Carr kind of has the same thing. Do you think the Jets or Giants will make any trades or sign anyone good? I don't think the Giants are going to make any more trades because they're low on draft capital for next year. But what was I going to say? I think at some point, they'll pick up a guy or two. They'll definitely pick up an offensive lineman and an edge. Like I'd be surprised if they don't pick up an offensive lineman. Edge is very meh. They could pick it up or whatnot. Carr did nothing with all the weapons.
He had Josh McDaniels as the coach. Enough said.
See, here's the problem with that. And I'm I still think Carr is better, but you could literally say the same thing in response to what Joe Judge, and that's my issue with that. So Giants make moves for line depth. Yeah, I definitely think so. So I guess I stand corrected. I stand correct because John hasn't given me a response. But
you're not correct.
I'm not
about the wait. Are you talking about the Carr thing?
No, I'm not. Listen, as I said, I think Carr is better, but you said, oh well, Josh McDaniels was the head coach. I could say the same thing about Joe Judge.
But hold up, Daniel Jones threw his highest passing yard season, because that was brought up yesterday too, and I mentioned it. Doesn't even eclipse Derek Carr's lowest passing yard season.
I'm not arguing with you.
I didn't say it was to you. I'm just throwing it out there.
Right, and then also he had Devontae Adams. Again, I will say Carr is better, but it's just a lot of arguments can be made with that. Alexa is no middleman. Well, I mean, I guess in that situation I was, because I was indicating that sometimes the excuse can be made, it may not be made. And in addition, I do think Derek Carr is a better quarterback slightly. That could change within the next 2 years, though. Let's see. John, do you have anyone in terms of like that you think that the Jets could pick up on the waiver wire?
Well, I did mention it first. Dennis Kelly was a good option. I'm trying to think who else has been cut. I would like to see another quarterback in there, possibly a Colt McCoy, a Carson Wentz,
PJ Walker.
Even him. I mean, just somebody else so Wilson can have a true redshirt freshman year.
Okay. Anyone else on that list?
I know. Hold on. Let me say this. I know some Jet fans are making "I'm coming home" videos for Brashad Perriman. John, would you like to see a reunion with Brashad Perriman?
No.
And then here's my response. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up. Wait, hold on. I'm going to ask John that question again. So do you think the Jets should reunite with Brashad Perriman?
No.
No! What do you mean no?
I just decided to pull that up.
It's funny because I also saw a rumor today that the Bears might trade Darnell Mooney.
Is that true?
Somebody said it was.
We heard the rumors of
Claypool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, it's going to come up in a second for you guys in the comment section. Mims over Perriman to come home, but I don't want either. Mims did get cut by the Lions, though. This was a few days ago, though, due to injuries.
He was cut with an injury designation.
And they also keep their pick that they gave to you guys. because it's conditional. So the Jets gave up a player and got nothing. Just saying.
That was that.
Yeah.
I'll take the pass on Rashad Perriman. No, thank you. In the most polite way possible.
In the most polite way possible, he'll say no.
Yeah.
Crackle says, John joined the Giants. Let's go, Big Blue.
You know what, Crackle Nuts? I will say you're a funny guy.
Hey, listen, he could also join the Yankees, but there's not much.
No, I'm gonna pass. I already have my own pain with my own baseball team. I don't need to join yours.
Exactly. What was I gonna say though? So for the Giants, a couple of guys I'd think that the Giants could pick up. Connor Galvin, who is an undrafted rookie from Baylor, he actually had a pretty good preseason with the Detroit Lions. Desmond King, I think, could be an option. The Giants picked 26th in the waiver wire order, so it's going to be very tough. But Desmond King, who's a returner, also a slot corner, could be an option. Dennis Kelly, if he falls to 26, I think the Giants snag him because he's a very good, solid swing tackle. Let's see, I'm trying to think of other players. Julian or Romeo Aquara for backup edge. Bryce Huff, if he gets released by the Jets, which,
No. Don't even. You know what? I'm going to blow up.
You were about to say something stupid.
Blow up your head, yeah.
Yeah.
Alex is
Bam Knight. Nah, I wouldn't pick up Bam. I think it's draft order, actually.
Draft order.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's draft order. So the Giants are 26th. It's 26. It's 26 because remember the Dolphins forfeited their pick because of the whole Stephen Ross scandal. So, the Giants are 26th in the waiver wire order. No chance in hell Huff is released. I'm not so sure about that. My opinion. The Mooney trade rumor comes from Brad Spielberger, who works for PFF. We'll see. You guys should have a video to play every time the Jets and Giants win. Well, I mean, I have it usually on Twitter. I have a graphic created on Twitter for every time the Giants win, but they have to win games first. So, and let me see any other corners, linemen. Nothing I'm thinking of. So, any other notes on the Giants Jets football subject?
I mean, if you want, we could go into the bookmarks that I have.
Okay. All
right. So I did this position by position based on my analysis. We're going to start with what the quarterbacks did. So Let's see. Share my screen because that would be proper.
That would be nice.
Yes. So first, we're going to look at Aaron Rodgers throwing the touchdown to Garrett Wilson. That is
I mean, totally outmatched, but Jamon Green not looking back.
Wasn't looking, and that's just a good ball from Rodgers right there.
Joe highlights, and this restarts on me for some reason. God, I hate X. Going to see AR give Garrett Wilson a chance in 1v1 situations. Often this year, Wilson gets loose, gets on the cornerback's toes with shortened strides, then does a great job attacking the ball late so the defensive back cannot react in time. Wilson's body control to pull the ball away after coming back to it is fire. So just going to remove this bookmark real quick, and then we'll get to another Aaron Rodgers-Garrett Wilson connection. Aaron Rodgers is first throw in the Jets uni because why not? He actually does a nice job pulling his hip through the throw here. Wilson gets yak, first down, and a penalty.
Because the idiot corner decided to face mask.
There you go, all 22. Stutter step, first down. Let's see. Then we have this. This is from Zach Wilson, not Aaron Rodgers this time. Needle from here from Zach Wilson, who hits Gibson. Number 2, slot on the bottom. We'll obviously see that. In a tight window over outside of the linebacker, inside the slot, defensive back, who Gibson gets behind, but with enough zip before the safety can get close from deep. It was dropped, but it's hell of a throw from Zach Wilson. So Gibson here in the slot. Wilson steps back, throws strong arm just past the hands of Gibson, who has to catch that ball. See a better view. See that one more time. The all-22 gives a better view of it. Good protection by the offensive line. Just off the hands a little bit. But nice little dart there from Wilson. You want to see that ball with zip. Jeremy Ruckert appearance slightly stems towards the defensive back. Again, I just want to say, so I don't get any copyrighted or yelled at or whatever, credit to Joe Blute on this. He does an excellent job to Jet X Factor. Slightly stems towards the defensive back, hits him with the nasty rocker step. Conklin special, getting open on the out. Turns up field and finishes, running over the defensive back with a stiff arm, picking up enough for the first down. So we'll see Zach Wilson once again under center. Ruckert to your left. First down. Very fit. You know what, John? I like he's a very physical player and does not mind the contact.
That was a good route run there. He shook the defender pretty well. Sold it.
See that one more time. Good protection from the line. And that's a first. So hopefully, once again, I hope Ruckert makes the roster as tight end too. But this was Xavier Gibson being a few inches from a house call. Return man is right here.
He just stepped
out of bounds there.
Mm-hmm.
About by a few inches. But it is evident about right here. Right on that is the 48-yard line. But awesome return from Gibson nonetheless. That was for 20 yards. Again, showing what Xavier Gibson could do because he'll be probably making the roster. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Sweet sidearm from Zach Wilson under immediate unblocked edge pressure via the blitz. Threads the kneel with a tightly contested catch that Gibson just cannot come up with. This is them in the red zone. Wilson under center in the shotgun. Bam Knight to his right takes the snap, looks left, throws, sidearm, but it is incomplete.
You want to do that again?
Yeah.
I'll slow it down. Wilson under center. I'll slow it down in a sec. Takes the snap. This is a 1, 2, 3, 7-man rush, if I'm counting correctly. Wilson throws. Let me just speed it up. Right through the hands.
Yeah.
That's
good.
Again, something you got to come up with.
Good read. That wasn't his fault. Why it was incomplete.
Good job trying to get away from the blitz. He didn't run. He didn't do anything ridiculous. But here's another good Zach Wilson play again. At the fault of his receivers, though. This is the Hardman drop. Wilson, you got two tight ends to the right, Kuntz and Jeremy Ruckert. Fullback in the back. Wilson looking deep.
Still a little choppy.
Pass is incomplete. I'll slow it down for you guys.
Yeah, sorry. It's like.
Well, I mean, if you want to just send me the tweets and I can get the video because it's going to be clear.
I got it. Let me see. I mean, it's clear for me, but obviously this is the all-22. I'll slow it down a little bit. Wilson looks over the middle, standing in the pocket.
Did he not move his feet this time?
He didn't really move his feet, but I guess, he had enough air on it. Didn't really aim, but he had enough air on it. Just a bad drop by Hardman, who ended up getting injured on this play. Just give me 1 second to load up the next one. This is a good job here by the offensive line. Just going to share my screen once again.
Lions wave Chase Lucas another corner. Yeah, I mean, I think he had a solid preseason. I think he's an undrafted free agent from last year or his late round pick of some sorts. But yeah, it could be another depth option.
Really good pass off from McGovern here to Tomlinson. Pops up the play side shoulder of the nose tackle while taking a good angle to cut off the linebacker. Good lead block from Bawden, taking on the linebacker from an inside-out angle. Carter does a good job getting skinny through the gap. So we'll see it here. Hold on. Pull it back. Now this is a little more blurry. I mean, Alex, if you want me to send this to you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop sharing for
pull it up. I can pull up you just send me the link and I'll Twitter download it.
Okay. Let me send it to you.
By the way, we're past 2 hours, so while Luca's doing that, I said I would do this at the top of every hour. So once again, we are sponsored by SeatGeek. Yes, if you're going to a concert, you're going to MetLife Stadium for parking passes, you're going to MetLife
Anywhere,
Stadium
really,
for a game or whatnot. Now you can, with our help, get $20 off your entire ticket order with the promo code Big Blue in the Bronx. Nothing abbreviated, just straight up that code. So I'm going to have the video guys for you in just a second. I'm going to download it here. All right. It is uploaded, so let me put the video file up, and everything should be dandy. Here we go.
Right, this you can watch McGovern pass off the lineman to Tomlinson. Here we go. Yeah, I'll take it, and you'll see Carter get skinny through the gap. I'll slow it down a little bit this time. Watch McGovern pass off the lineman. He's like, here you go. Tomlinson levels his feet. Good block here by Bawden is highlighted. Carter gets skinny enough to get through.
Good job there. That was nice. That was good job by the offensive line. Good job.
All right, let me see if I'll get like one or two bookmarks because I don't want to press this off. Let's watch Bryce Huff, shall we? I'll pull it up. Bryce Huff off the edge. One of the quicker get-off times across the NFL. It's just amazing. He's going to beat Matt Pert here on the left side.
Shocker.
Give me 1 second. Here we go. Again, look at you. Right, our right side, the left side of the line. Dips his shoulder, sack.
He didn't even take enough steps. Can't match the
speed of
Bryce Huff.
It's just the quick. As Alex points out, he doesn't take enough steps, meaning Pert. Bryce Huff just gets off, and he dips his shoulder, sack. One more time. Shoulder dip,
plays like
sack.
A fucking pear, so.
He plays like a pear?
Yes.
Let me see if I can find PETA. Let me see. I think he's somewhere here. He's all the way at the top. This is the defensive player of the year for the XFL Vipers, PETA Tumopunu. I can't really pronounce his name. He's going to be on the right side here. Against this is, I believe, Julian Davenport. What's up, Jets Mess? Hope all is well.
What's up, man? Thank you for joining us, Jets Mess.
Yeah, it's choppy. Yeah, it's if you want to send it over again, but just that's some come in choppy. All right, yeah, just that's some come in choppy and whatnot. So I'll do this. Got it right here. It takes 2 seconds to download. Just preparing this one. Just preparing. All right.
We interrupt this program with a commercial from Geico.
Yes, because we're totally sponsored by Geico.
Not yet.
Video file, and here we are. Okay.
All right. So pause this. Late start. Tumopunu, number 50 on
Davenport.
Yeah. Right side of the offensive line. Tumopunu. Good speed.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, defensive player in the XFL. He's probably going to land back on the Jets practice squad. Violent hand.
Someone's going to pick him up. But go back, Luca. Go back for a sec to the start of that. Watch the hand leverage that he gets on the pads. Watch. Go ahead. Go ahead. Puts like a little chop down.
Yeah, it swipes.
Yeah, swipes at it, and then he goes. You know, some people don't understand that hand leverage.
How much that plays a big factor.
Yeah, hand leverage and pad leverage and all that stuff, and how you use your technique. It's very important on those one-on-one battles.
Just good stuff from PETA, but I hope he makes the practice squad because, again, we already have enough edge talent, but him on the practice squad would not be a bad idea.
Never enough depth.
I go back not this Friday. I think next Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. Usually the day is Wednesday, but I don't have class Wednesday and Thursday, I think. Something like that. Because of the schedules and shit like that. I think, Luca, what day you go back?
I go back Wednesday, but I have off
Loser.
on Fridays and Mondays.
Loser.
That's it. What? Luca's got the better schedule.
It's a joke. Y'all getting your pants wet too much today.
You're just
Interesting
not good with the
question.
jokes.
Okay, John. Okay.
Oh.
And the 6. 6, everybody. The number's at 6.
It's not what you want.
It's not what you want.
Wasn't Brian supposed to be on tonight?
No.
I think he had some work stuff. So yeah, last night and next week he unfortunately won't be joining us because he'll be at work.
Mhm.
So, yeah, this what 6, number 6.
If Brad is here, he's got to add this to the bingo card that he keeps.
Yeah, I mean, just you know what? Not even a bingo card, just like an over under. We know that for next Monday. Now we do. Let's see. What did y'all do when John was wasting money at the black table? Walking around it on the boardwalk and around Hard Rock. So, and
Soon
then
they'll be
I'm
wasting
surprised-
money with me.
soon. I'm surprised Matt Parrott is still on the Giants. Thought he'd be gone after 21. Yeah, I thought he'd be gone last year, but I guess with the injury they wanted to give him a chance, and then we'll see if they cut him tomorrow.
Oh, Brad says 7. I counted 6. Alex counted 6. I don't know where
I
the
think
7
it's 6,
was.
but over 5 should definitely be a winner.
All
My
right.
opinion. But any more football thoughts?
I mean, you want to go into the general NFL stuff that I put down?
Yeah, I mean, like we could talk about the Cardinals for a little bit.
I've also got the Christian Wilkins Dolphins stuff because
What's
they're
going on with
apparently
that?
they're actually far apart in the negotiations. Per a beat writer, he wants Simmons Lawrence money.
Which
Jeffrey
is
Simmons?
like
Jeffrey Simmons, Dexter Lawrence money.
I mean, he's a very good run defender, Christian Wilkins.
But I will add this: 33rd in pressures, 53rd, 62nd in pressure rate, and 14 career sacks.
let me see something here.
He's been in the league since what, 2021, 2020?
Yeah,
Or
so
was
like
it? Oh, no, hold on a second. Or was it the Quinnen year?
it was, I believe it was the Quinnen year.
That's what I
2019.
thought.
So like
Yeah,
at least
that's
Dexter Lawrence for his contract, it wasn't a contract year, but Dexter Lawrence at least put up like 7.5 sacks. 4.5 was the most for Christian Wilkins in 2021. So, I mean,
Yeah, as I
I
said,
could
he
see
wants.
Wilkins put. See, what I will say about this though, Armand, is he's going to be a guy that wants a contract, and they are far, meaning Indy, from giving a guy a contract in that aspect. Watch the Cardinals try to tank and still end with 3 wins and the number 2 overall pick. I want to know who's the number 1 in that situation. Sox, what's up?
What's up, man?
What's up, bro?
Mr. Sox.
Oh, boy. There we go. The man.
But
Can I also add what I also find funny? His teammate got a contract extension. Zach Seiler
Sealer.
earned a
yeah,
Yeah, I
Sealer
saw
earned a
that
3-year
too.
contract over $30 million over the next 3 years.
Mhm.
$10 million a year.
Because as I was saying, the Dolphins, they usually they usually play a 3-4.
Right.
Yeah.
And Wilkins is one of their starters, along with Roquan Davis, and I think Emmanuel Ogba is on the other side
Agba.
at the
I'm
moment.
really
Agba's
interested
good.
to see what Jalen Phillips looks like this year. Because I liked him coming out of the draft. I know there was those older player injury concerns because he retired from football for like a year or two. But man had 8.5 sacks his rookie year and 7 last year. I think he's going to be a star pass rusher. I think he's going to be a stud, if better yet.
Mhm.
The Texans will end with the number 1 pick, but the Cards have theirs due to the Will Anderson trade up. I don't think the Texans are going to be that bad. I think they'll be like 6-7 wins most.
They just released Kirksey, the linebacker.
Yeah, but he hasn't
They
been that good, according to
They
Jake
did.
Gasper.
I mean, but that's still a veteran linebacker. Like, it doesn't help your defense at the
I mean,
moment.
do they still have Blake Cashman? Let's
Blake
They-
Cashman.
They might.
Those are 2
Yep.
names.
Blake Cashman.
Denzel Perryman. That's a good name to have on the table.
They also
So
have what? Jonathan Greenard. They also got
Greenard,
Jalen. I mean, they have solid talent, but it's not their year yet.
No,
no,
not
it's like mid at best. As I said, 6-7 games. That's probably their ceiling. 3 wins is their minimum. It just depends on how CJ Stroud's going to do this year, which of course I can't wait to get into next week. But I know we could also talk about this next week, but I want to talk about it now because it's a bigger topic. I think the Cardinals are going to be a worse shit show than the Miami Dolphins the first 2 games of 2019. If you guys remember, they gave 100 points on defense.
yeah.
It was
Mhm.
in the first
It
2
was
weeks.
against the Ravens and the Patriots. I remember.
Ravens and the Patriots. Yes. Yeah, I like Jalen Petrie. I liked him coming out of the draft last year. Alex wearing glasses to help find the fight in the Yankees. Yeah, I mean, listen, look. Even when I put the glasses on, I still can't find the fight. So
What in terms of record for the Cardinals? Realistically, I see them getting maybe 3 or 4 wins because
Right.
I know that you could say they'll get 1 and 2, but it's really hard. Like it's really hard to predict like a team going like 0 wins, 1 win,
Yeah.
2 wins. Like
it's
it
legitimately
doesn't
hard to
happen.
lose.
Right. Now this could be a season where they may get 1 or 2 wins. I'm not saying it can't happen, but they have I mean, they're gutting their roster. Gonna be starting jobs at quarterback, rookie head coach. Like
I'm gonna get into that in a second. I ended up a 3rd pick in my fantasy draft, drafted Josh Allen. CMC still got D+ grade. That's interesting.
we love
Tate
to do
Crowder. Yeah, that's a good point. Tate Crowder got released. Yeah, did see that. He's gonna be flying around the league. That was the Giants' ceiling was supposed to be last year, but I just don't know what the direction is because at least Fitzpatrick was respectable with the Dolphins the year he came in,
Yeah.
which was 2019. At least it was respectable. It's not even like a clear cut. It is a tank, but you get tank for Caleb Williams and that contract for Kyler Murray. I almost said Caleb Murray. Kyler Murray. That has like a lot of dead cap money.
It's a disaster.
My thing, how are you going to get rid of that if you're going to draft Caleb overall number 1? That's my question. And it's just going to be, I think it's going to be a shit show over in Arizona. And you look at the guys that defensively and offensively have left there and they've succeeded. Tyrann Mathieu, Calais Campbell,
Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones had good years there. There's 2 others that let me look it up. Because there's like
Austin
4
Reddick.
Austin Reddick. Yes, that's another guy. And then maybe
yeah.
Isaiah Simmons. I don't know. You think McDaniels is Judge 2.0 and gets I would say yes, but I don't know how much Mark Davis has in the bank. I think he should. I don't think McDaniels even should have been hired.
That was a clown hire.
No, I mean, I wouldn't have hired him. They got a Patriots front office guy as a GM, Dave Ziegler. No. Vogelback did what he does best in the 9th inning, strikeout looking.
Just the freeze dance.
I saw somebody on Twitter, this is regarding a Cardinals discussion, say, Colt, the Cardinals releasing Colt is not a tank move. He was legitimately terrible all of preseason and camp.
But your options are Clayton Tune,
Josh Dobbs. Who they just traded for.
$81 million in dead cap. I think someone said it's nuts. It is nuts.
Is Kyler? He's still really banged up, right? Like
he's going to start the first 4 games on PUP, so he will not play against the Giants.
I wonder how long he's going to be out for. I'm really curious.
I mean, it's even more of a win now for the Giants.
Yeah, I think if they don't win against Dallas, that's where they get the first win. If they don't win against the Cards, I'm going to stab somebody in the eyeball. The Cards got rid of Murray contract because desperate team looking for a young QB, Vikings, Raiders, Commanders, to name a few. I mean, I feel like the Commanders. No, actually, no. That's more of a Dan Snyder thing. I forgot they're under new ownership. Raiders, maybe, but they don't have a ton of money with Davis, just drowning in debt. And also the relocation and stuff like that. So I could see the Vikings maybe. I don't think so.
Brian said he thinks that they're going to move on. He thinks they're going to move on from Kirk Cousins after this year.
I think it's possible, but I don't think they'll go the Kyler route. Like they'll probably get somebody who's a free agent or trade for somebody and something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Plus,
let's see
the
what-
draft is stacked next year, so it's like, what does it give to actually trade assets for a quarterback?
right. Does Dennis Allen get fired after the season
Yes.
if the Saints don't perform well?
Yes.
If they win less than 7 games, then he will get fired. In my opinion, he would get fired. Going to the Met game on Wednesday, is Max starting that game?
No. I looked to see if he would be returning against us. No.
You should look at Armin's comment, Alex.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw it right before we started. I saw it.
1.5 seasons.
First off, do we want to get into Met stuff or we want to finish the football stuff?
Let's finish the football.
Yeah, let's finish the football. Armin, don't worry. We'll get into some Mets nonsense.
Giants could have a great start. If they beat Dallas, I'm going to be really happy, and I'm going to shove it in Sunil's face, but we'll see what happens week 1. And then he'd have a double pain in the ass if the Jets go out there and beat the Cowboys week
I would
2.
love to fucking beat the Cowboys.
Cowboys starting 0-2 against 2 New York teams? Probably not. I know we'll be streaming Jets Bills. That's definite.
Yeah, Alex doesn't want. Alex is very superstitious here, guys. He's very superstitious.
What are you holding a finger up? What are you, fucking ET? Let's see if we're a fluke. Yeah, I don't want to be a fluke. Did you see D-Hop say the Giants got to steal with Simmons and then he deleted it? Yeah, I saw that.
He probably has
I
a lot of
think-
grievances with the Cardinals organization.
Right. I think the Giants got to steal either way. Does Luka not
Now I am.
rep the backwards hat? Now he does. So
We're the
it's
backwards hat pod.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly. Is it possible? It is
Champaz.
possible. What is up, Champaz? Let's see what else. Kyler is Kirk 2.0. I think he's a little bit worse, if you want my opinion. One of y'all twins needs a mustache to really tell the difference. Well, I mean,
What?
I do have the glasses, so we have that point for now. Yeah, Williams is looking like a fucking star.
Thanks.
Peace out,
I
Hayes.
hate. Peace out, Hayes. Just want to say that. I also want to say I hate
It's
USC
funny when
with
he
the
wrote.
passion. I hate USC with the passion because they're the rivals of Notre Dame, main rivals. But thank you, Caleb Williams, for helping me win my bet. Scoring 49 points against the 21 of San Jose State. Winning me money.
Tribute to Trash, MH says.
Yeah,
The Cardinals.
tributes are disappointing.
Yeah. The Cardinals have an interesting future, to say the least. I thought y'all were going to go to the Jets, Bills. Most likely streaming it. It's probably like legitimately expensive. Like I'm
Section
saving-
1. Let me just say this. Section 113. Like it was like the first row, I think. Tickets for like $24,000.
Let's I'm going to do some quick research on it.
I'm like, yeah,
So,
I'm sitting home on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to.
I mean, I would have loved to go, but that's gonna
Ticket flow is 209.
tickets
So-
low for the Bills game. That's actually not bad.
That's not terrible.
It's not bad,
Um,
considering the stakes of the game.
The USC QB might be a star, but he being smart, he don't want to be on a shit team.
Didn't he say he was
had-
like going to see who was number one?
Yeah, he said he's gonna see who's number one, and then see who's gonna if he's gonna go back to school.
Who's their
I mean,
GM? Monty Austinfort?
Yeah, there always could be some sort of a trade up, but if the Cardinals are number one, I probably wouldn't bet on. It's just like I don't like this attitude. My personal opinion, because I've seen it before with the Giants. I don't like this attitude from Jonathan Gannon. We're not gonna name a star.
You want to compete?
Competitive advantage, bro. Who cares? Josh Dobbs and Clayton Tune are your options. Like you're not
Hey,
gonna go out there and trade for somebody right now.
The opposing team doesn't have film on either of them. When was the last time Josh Dobbs started a game? Clayton's never started a game either. So what's the point?
Peace out, Jacob.
Later, Jacob. Thank you for
Um,
joining us.
But what was I gonna say? Clayton Tune. I mean, you could go to his college film and maybe preseason. Josh Dobbs is the same thing. It's just like, does Washington? And I could say a lot of things about Washington. Does Washington really give two shits who starts? They're
No.
winning week one. They're winning week one.
That defense
Again, I could understand if you had two solid QBs or whatever the case may be, but just this attitude from Jonathan Gannon is it doesn't smell right. It doesn't smell right. And there was a lot of Eagle fans who wanted him gone. There's a lot of Eagle fans who wanted him gone. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it unravels. I mean, who are the vets remaining over there that I'm
In
trying to think
term-
of?
Hollywood Brown,
Hollywood Brown's one.
Oh, let me look at this.
Zach
You call
Ertz.
me who?
Isn't Zach Ertz?
Zach
Zach
Ertz is
Ertz
still there.
is coming back, yeah.
DJ Humphries, Will
DJ
Hernandez,
Humphries. I mean, they did
Coleman
draft Paris
Beecham.
Johnson. Beecham. I mean, like regarded veterans, like Buda Baker. I know he was requesting
James
a trade,
Conner.
and then James Conner. Yeah, I don't take it serious that he would request a trade. I think
and
what was I
Skarnick
gonna
is your
say?
White.
Buda Baker. I think he could be a guy they move at the deadline. I don't know if he got
Definitely,
extended
because
though.
he already
but-
requested a trade.
They got rid of Byron Murphy through free agency, so
Mhm. This is
let me see
Viking
what
now.
else they got. Because I think they could be. I predicted them to be bad so many years ago. Like I think it was when they hired Steve Wilkes. I said they're going to be 0-16. I think they won 3 games that year. Let's take a look. Let's look at their roster. To this moment, they cut Colt McCoy, obviously. Noah Kicker's not going to ask for a trade. Their defensive line is not good. Like, tell me if you know any of these names: Carlos Watkins, Dante Stills, Kevin Strong, Jacob Slade, Jonathan Ledbetter, Rashard Lawrence, LJ Collier. I mean, they got 2 solid players in BJ Ojulari and Myjay Sanders, but other than that, I mean, I'm still trying to find like household veteran solid names other than Buda Baker. And there's not much at all.
Can I go on an off-topic note, but it's still football?
Okay.
So, per Rich Samini, something to watch tomorrow on Jets Cutdown Day. A number of teams have called the Jets inquiring about trading for Tristan Colon.
Really?
Like, I mean, it's not like he's that good, but if you get a draft pick for him, go get him.
Sure.
Unless you guys want to keep him.
It wasn't a guy that I originally had making the roster.
Yeah, so you could probably do that ahead of tomorrow, or ahead of 4 p.m. Luca, would you keep Tristan Colon on the roster, or would you say bye via trade?
You already got 2 backup centers, so you don't have to keep him. So no.
Expectations for Mac Jones. I mean, we could go into it more next Monday, but I will say I don't think he's going to be good this year. Like, I think he'll throw for more touchdowns, but I don't think it's going to be good enough.
His numbers are very pedestrian.
Right. I like Bill O'Brien. Yeah, him going over there makes the offense better, but I think it's going to be run dependent again. They do have Aziz's brother. I'm on Ticketmaster, and section 245C, row 3, $1,500. That's the second deck. But 240 row 8 is $789. Yeah, Ticketmaster is sometimes Armand, and you'll probably see this on the site. There's the resell and there's the actual Ticketmaster. The resell is in red and the Ticketmaster is in blue. So, yeah, they do have BJ Ojulari, who I wanted to get this draft. You guys are amazing. Love your passion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, I do predict that this will be the year of the Jets. I think you guys play week 3, right?
Week 3, week 18.
Week 3, week 18. And I think the Jets win in week 3. Eagles are probably going to trade Derek Barnett. That's an interesting name. I think if they weren't trading him and they cut him, I think the Giants could pick him up, but I don't know how he would transition to I think they still run a 3-4 over there, so I don't know if he's a defensive end or he's an outside linebacker.
He's probably at the end.
Could be bait by Samini because he has to put something out. True. Could be smoke screen. That's another good point. Mets are about to win tonight.
Yes, Barbara, you nailed it.
So they did.
Yes.
So they listened to good buddy John.
Yes, they did. Barbara, you're right on. Of course they lost. All right. I know some people were celebrating with me. You know, we're rooting for losses. It's no, we don't need to win.
No, of course not.
Yeah, winning doesn't mean anything.
You guys can still ask about NFL and all the other questions. I mean, we could start wrapping up. John, I know you wanted to go in the Mets a little bit or whatever.
I'm all good with the NFL. Luca, did you have anything?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just going to look at – I was going to say, we'll preview this next week regardless, but some questions for next week. We'll obviously go over how long the Jonathan Taylor saga will last, how much money Christian Wilkins should command, rookie new quarterbacks to start in week 1, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Baker Mayfield. We could go into that next week.
I can't wait for predictions, I must say.
Same.
But did you have anything with the Mets? I know.
Yes. First off, the fact that I saw, and this I didn't plan on talking about this, that Max Scherzer actually got a tribute before today's game is laughable. They're just giving anyone tributes now.
Can I get a tribute?
I mean, hell, why don't we give Jed Lowry a tribute? He played like what, 10 games for us? Why don't we just give anyone a tribute now? I mean, especially the way Scherzer left, he did nothing. And of course, he denied the report that there was any friction and that affected him and Justin Verlander. Malarkey, okay? He was, you know how I know? Because he was horrible. He was horrible this year. And he's pitching well in Texas, who by the way, I'm you know what? I don't want to root against the Rangers. I have nothing against them, but I just want to root against Scherzer. I really just want to root against them, and I'm kind of glad that they fell out of first place. I hope Seattle wins like every game and plays like 900 baseball. But nevertheless, the fact that these clowns gave this clown a tribute is mind-boggling. Who gets a tribute for a year and a half? Is that really the standard now? Seriously, like what should you get for it? Like tribute is like probably 5 or 6 years plus at this point, unless you've done something huge. Like if they somehow won a World Series and were a big part of it, yeah, you can tribute them. Fine. That's fine. But to give him a tribute is, again, laughable, in my opinion. And obviously, the Mets, they dropped another one tonight. Thank God Trevor Gott blew this game. Okay. It's not a matter of when, or it's not a matter. It's, you know what? It is a matter of who and when, because they have multiple bullpen arms that can blow the game. And I'm very glad that Trevor Gott did blow it because, they don't need to win. But nevertheless, and also it was mentioned, I forgot who mentioned it. Maybe it was Armin. Maybe it was someone else. Maybe it was Mike. Danny Vogelbach striking out in the 9th inning.
Yep.
Great job. Just epitome of what the Mets were. Blowing a game, having Danny Vogelbach hitting a key spot, and doing nothing. Because let's face it, he's a whole lot of nothing. And boy, is he a whole lot, because that man weighs a lot. But anyway, the biggest story is the Pete Alonso trade rumors. Did they give Jake a tribute? I don't know. Which
That would
I
have
don't
been
even know.
a better guy to do a tribute for.
Right, but I think I don't even know if he's traveling with the Rangers. If I'm being honest,
I don't think so.
So, I mean, he would be the guy you give the tribute to. I mean, he won 2 Cy Youngs, dominant. And which I can only assume he's not traveling with the team, which he doesn't really have to. He's not pitching this year, so that's fine. Nevertheless, yeah, he's the designated watcher. That's a great way to put it. Star that comment from Mr. Mike. But let's we can get into the Pete Alonso as Kevin Thompson comments. Mets fans stink, man. Y'all are just terrible. How do we stink?
Uh-oh.
What?
The fans stink or the team stinks?
I'm very confused on that one. But
I don't know if Kayvon's a Yankee fan or he was from that Mets Cardinals stream. I forget, but I have seen him before. So
how do we stink? We're the ones that have suffered. But nevertheless,
the smell of losing. I think
that might be the only thing that does actually stink. But again, Pete Alonso. I mean, we went into it last night a little. Let me just say, the fact that they're even thinking of not extending him and trading him is ridiculous. Alex Luca, do you guys realize that this man is one of the top power hitters in the game? And you know what? I'm not trying to take a shot at Giancarlo Stanton, but
who cares if you do?
Oh no, I know. I'm not trying to turn it into that. But we talked about Stanton and some of his power numbers or his supposed power numbers. Pete Alonso is a real power hitter. Okay, that's just the case. I mean, there is not a ballpark that can hold this man. In his seasons with the Mets, he's been here since 2019. 53 homers rookie season. He had 16 during the shortened season, so whatever. That was like he played 57 games, 16 homers, whatever. Then he had 37, 40, and he's at 39 now, so he's going to eclipse 40 again. That's going to be 3 times he's hit 40 homers. But the fact that they're even thinking of trading him and not extending him is mind-boggling. Like he's not so old. I mean, it just, you know, and I can understand if there's a situation where he doesn't want to sign long term, but like there's not many generational power hitters that come up through your organization. They're just that just doesn't happen. I mean, how many guys in this MLB can realistically, consistently, and not just talking about one-off seasons, go for 40 plus homers?
Not many.
You name them. I mean, Aaron Judge, when he's healthy, Pete, Alvarez. You could say Ohtani, even though he's not really regarded as a power hitter, but he has plenty of power. Who else?
Acuna
could do it. I mean, I don't think he's he can get to 40. I wouldn't say he's like consistently gonna hit it. And Evan, I so disagree with your comment. But anyway, because he's not overrated. He's just simply not. He's appropriately rated, okay? Nobody calls him the best player in the game, but he's a star. And if you don't think so, I can't convince you. You have the right to be wrong. But anyway, just Alonso is just and the backlash he's received this year. Do you remember the nonsense that he was toxic?
Yeah, that was.
They had to disprove that a day or two later. The clubhouse came out and said he's not toxic. I don't know where they got the report from. I mean, Jesus, it's just mind-boggling the nonsense he's put up with. And despite all that, I know he's at a low batting average this year. Fine, I get that. But when you get some players in there that don't know how to hit around him, yeah, they're going to pitch around him. You know, Danny Vogelback can't protect him. He can't. That's right. It is a lesson in understanding. But it's just ridiculous. And Evan says he's definitely good, John, but I don't think he's Aaron Judge. I'm not saying he's Aaron Judge.
No.
Of course.
I'll say this, though. He's been more durable than Aaron Judge.
Well, yeah.
By far. Which, you know, you got to take that in consideration. But I'm not saying he's the player Aaron Judge is.
Peace out, Bill.
Bill, thank you for joining.
Peace, Bill.
Yeah, Barbara. He Sal made up stuff saying he's toxic, you know, saying he's not good in the clubhouse.
I mean, here's the thing, John. Just this is not going to turn into another subject. I'm not trying to get off topic, but between that and the Tiki Barber stuff, when he alleged that Robert Saleh canceled training camp practice on short notice because he wasn't there, that just shows to me that WFAN just does not do their research.
You know what? I'm going to take like 2 seconds for a caveat. I'm going to shout out 2 things. Well, actually, really 1. And then we'll get back to John's point. You know, go back to Luca's point again. Is like, you know, how sports radio is becoming just like terrible. And then you look at like Fox Sports, they're not becoming talented. They're actually becoming less talented. I will give one area, I think. Yeah, to my knowledge. One area, one outlet, a lot of credit. And that's Bleacher Report. Why? Because I see a lot of giant content creators doing stuff on there because Bleacher Report has invited them to do live streams.
Mm-hmm.
So
they do a whole bunch of different live streams with Bleacher Report. With like I see that with football, I've seen that with basketball stuff. Like I've
exactly.
seen
They're more
stuff.
Bleacher Report's not Fox, it's not ESPN, but they are more in tune with what's going on, you know, in this generation. More people want to become content creators and stuff like that. So I'm just saying, like, I'll give Bleacher Report credit. Do I read everything? Yeah. And that was exactly my point. Atana, Kid Blue, Bobby Skinner.
Who does great content, by the way. So if you guys haven't, make sure to sub up in his channel. Pretty sure Alex has the link in his description.
Yeah. If you haven't already, it's just, you know, the Atana. There's a lot of, he does some Mets content, Knicks content, and mostly Giants content, of course. But yeah, I mean, just like a central point that I want to just take away because I was wanting to mention it at some point, whether I brought it up or not. But like Bleacher again, and I'm gonna throw this out there because I don't press this channel enough. Maybe one day I'll be on there. Maybe one day one of these guys will be on there if we grow hard enough, which I think we will. But like it's just showing like maybe in a few years Bleacher Report is actually doing something better than ESPN and Fox.
I love Bleacher, but I'm not trying to. Thank you, Barbara, for the nice compliment.
Thank you.
We appreciate that, and we're diehard fans for our team. We love our teams, even though when they piss us off. But going back to the Alonso stuff, I mean, how do you expect him to have a high batting average? I know that's been a knock on him this year, when guys just haven't performed around him. I mean, you want to get on someone, you want to get on a star in New York. What about Lindor? What about Francisco Lindor?
That's a good point. I don't know who I was talking to, but it was a Mets fan. I don't remember who. It's slipping my mind. It wasn't you, John. Mm-hmm. But people were like, I think it was Mac, the Giants fan, who was in here a couple hours ago. He was saying, people were questioning Pete Alonso. What about Lindor? How about all the money he's making?
Right.
And he's only turned it up, John, ever since the Mets, like after the June swoon. So it didn't mean anything.
I think all his numbers after All-Star break mean nothing. I mean, at least, and I know Pete's gotten some good numbers too this month, but at least he did in the beginning of the year too.
He's consistent.
And then he got hurt. He got thrown at, which nobody stepped up for him. But
yeah, remember, just our teams lack testicles.
That is correct. I mean, it's funny, like what the Rays showed. I wish the Mets would have showed some heart, but nobody on the team's got that. But it's just like, do they not see that Danny Vogelback's like hitting DH every time and is behind a lot? Like who in their right mind is scared of Danny Vogelback?
Or an injured Starling
Marte, who hasn't played in months. McNeil's been. I don't even know what happened. I mean, granted, I think it's just an off season for him, but he hasn't been the same. I mean, who else scares you in that lineup? And you're thinking of trading him?
He's older, realistically.
You should. He should be the main building block.
If that's the case, then Billy Epler or whoever it was telling the truth about. He was telling, what was it? He told Scherzer that they're not going to compete next year or the year after that. And again, like I think Armin said this yesterday, and I have a couple of comments to get to. Of course, Marte got engaged.
Congratulations! Stay on the field, you clown.
But like he brought up a point. If you trade Alonso, trade everybody. Like it's over. It's over.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's like this is a homegrown kid. He came up through the system. Remember, there used to be a debate: who's better, him or Dominic Smith? Well, we know the answer by a long shot.
Right.
And it doesn't make sense. And I know they got some kids coming up who I like, but they're not going to help. Most of them are not going to help the team next year. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. And someone might be ready that I don't even know. But I doubt it. And again, it makes no sense. I mean,
and the thing is, John, everybody in your this is kind of a Yankees point too. Everyone in your division is getting better. If the Mets don't do anything, if they do exactly what they did this year, the Nationals are going to be 2 steps better than them. Because
the Nationals are already better than them.
Because they have a core. They just need a couple of. I know there's talk about the relocation or whatever. Who gives?
And remember the Nationals. They're out of the Strasburg deal now because he retired.
Exactly.
Right.
So they have money now.
Like, here's the thing, too, that I look at. Like, Torey Lovillo, I think it was last year, the year before, got extended. And it was weird, too, because the Diamondbacks were shit. And then the year after he got extended, he started, I believe it was last year, but he started winning ball games this year. I think Davey Martinez, they have one of the best records since the All-Star break. So I think it is possible that next year could be the leap home, not competing for a division, but I could be wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. And, the Phillies, I mean, they still have a good. We didn't get it to them. The Phillies have proven me wrong with some of their bats. I don't trust in their pitching, but they got some good hitters there, and Trey Turner's turned it around really. Obviously, if Harper, Schwarber's a power hitter, although he's a home run and strikeout guy.
Bryson Stott.
Luke, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Let me get close to the mic. Alec Bohm, Bryson Stott.
Oh, Stott's been incredible this year. And
But
then you look
John, forget competing in your own division. Competing in your own league.
No, we can't. There's none. I mean,
Think about it. Like the NL Central is garbage outside of the Brewers, the Cubs, and obviously the Reds. The Reds are still trying to compete. The Cubs are trying to compete, but the
Reds will be good. I think the Reds
they're getting better. The Cubs potentially could get better. The Brewers are right now staying afloat, staying afloat.
They're that
You
weird
have
first
the West,
place team
which
that nobody
includes
gives a
the
shit about.
Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Both teams are going to get better.
The Giants are even doing good this year.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
So
you're so far behind in the loop. If you rebuild, you're going farther down the loop. You're gonna go really hard into the rabbit hole. One second. If you start to build around Alonso, you can eventually start climbing, but you have to spend smartly and you have to develop prospects.
Correct. But here's what doesn't make sense. They're going to trade Alonso, but they're more inclined to keep Lindor. And I understand Lindor has this huge contract, and I'm not saying the route is to go trade him, because a bad year for him in my opinion. I know is he still a top 5 shortstop in the game? Yeah, I think he is. In terms of all around play, if you remember, you could see how I ranked the shortstops pretty soonly actually. But anyway, to the fact that he just hasn't played up to his contract, like where is the pressure on him?
Outrage.
Exactly.
Where is the outcry? Like
Alex wants to call timeout.
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to address a couple of comments because I know there's been a stream of them. Shout outs to Drew from Two Giant Goofballs, by the way. You could still ask NFL. I mean, we kind of passed the NFL talk, but if you want to ask NFL questions, we'll definitely start answering once we're done with this segment because we have time and stuff. Spending smartly is tough. Well, if you're the Mets, then that is tough. The Mets need a president of baseball operations so they can't rely on Steve Cohen making every baseball decision. Phillies just buy everyone. The Nets are not out of the Strasburg contract. He is counting $26 million. Strasburg had no choice but to retire. The Nationals in the next D-back/Reds. Also, by the way, guys, I shout it out every time. If you haven't already, go sub up Two Giant Goofballs. Nimmo is really good one, and Polar Bear Lindor's.
I like Brandon. I think Brandon plays a fine center field, and I'm not saying to trade Lindor, but there should be more outrage that he hasn't. The
media don't talk about that though. I think I don't listen to sports radio, but nobody in the New York market has really talked about that. You would see it on Twitter. Lindor sucks. Salicata said this. No, nobody has said that.
I was calling for him to be benched.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I remember early in the season, I was I was yelling at Buck. And I'm like, why is he hitting third every day? Remember, he was hitting around 220, and it's not like Lindor is this 40 to 50 homer guy. At least I can understand what Pete doesn't hit 250 above. At least he's putting 40, 50 homers in the seats,
right? Driving
in 100 runs every year. What's Lindor's production this year? 250 hitter, maybe 25 homers. That's what you get for $340 million.
That's not a good $340 million these days, I guess. But a couple more comments. Do you guys listen to Dan Grossa? Any comments on him, Luca, and John?
Did you mean Don? Wait,
he means
no. There is a guy named Dan Grossa.
Oh, I think he does the Jet pre-games or some shit. I'm not sure.
Maybe I think I do know who Evan's talking about.
Yeah. Not too often.
Brian cracking some jokes here as far as talent goes. Armin says, what you guys and myself say about our favorite team is out of love. Yeah, no, listen, it's out of I think I know where you're going with this, Armin, but we say it out of passion. I hate the Yankees, I also love the Yankees because they were my first team. It just sucks that they're run by a bunch
I
of
don't want to hate on these guys, but they've been awful. They've stunk.
Right.
And Steve Cohen even said it. Yeah, we got a 12% chance of making the playoffs when he had his press conference. We're probably not going to, if it doesn't go well, we're probably not going to, stand pat. We're probably going to sell, which he did the right thing.
Right. Shout out to Disgruntled. Mike says, I don't know why they don't give Mauricio a shot. Service time.
The service time, which he needs
and
a
the
certain
rookie
amount of
status.
With a certain amount of plate appearances, which honestly, I wish they brought him up next year because I think he's the only prospect that's probably ready for the majors next year.
Okay.
And I don't care what the scouts say. I love his bat.
I wonder what's going to happen with Brett Beatty.
Really curious to see how he comes back up because, next year it's kind of like the, all right, we got to see what you are, kid. You've gotten some time up here. Great. You've experienced it. And here's Armin. You just reminded me because I was going off on a little tangent.
It's kind of like Josh. I'm not saying it's Josh Donaldson because there's Yankee news that he's going to do a rehab assignment. I'm like, what the fuck is the point? But your point, like the whole thing about what was I going to say? The whole point about Edwin Diaz is so far worse.
This angered me, and I understand Edwin wants to pitch. I get it. The human side of me, I understand he wants to pitch. He wants to play. Because going down with a freak accident like that in the World Baseball Classic, nobody could have predicted that, okay? But you need to understand, this is a lost season.
Yeah.
They are not going anywhere. They should not be trying to win. I mean, I get the players are, but this team is not good enough to win baseball games. They simply can't, okay? And tonight was a perfect epitome of what they truly are.
Right.
But Edwin Diaz should not pitch at all this year. Armin, you are 1,000% right. You save him for next year because that is when healthy, he was the best closer in baseball last year. And
I agree.
There was a time where, people would have debated Clay Holmes, Bednar last year, some other guys. Nope. Edwin Diaz was by far the best closer. And that's why he got his contract, and rightfully so. And, the fastball movement of 100 plus, I mean, that thing moves left and right. I don't know how hitters can pick it up. And then you throw his electric slider in there, which has only gotten better as time has progressed. Because I remember he used to struggle a lot with that. But you throw those two pitches, and he can realistically have an immaculate inning if he wanted to. But again, do not rush him back. If he wants to work out, fine. Let him work out off to the side. I'm okay with that, just to start getting into some sort of shape. But you do not let him pitch at all. You let him wait till next year. Let him pitch in spring training. Give him his outing.
You probably tell him do not pitch in the WBC or the Winter League.
Well, there's no WBC.
I know the Winter League.
No. Do not let him pitch in the Winter League this year. You say if you're especially and. You know what? Steve Cohen's got to be upfront about this, and he sometimes is, but he's got to sit Billy Epler down and his staff out. He's like, look, I don't care, about his pride. And usually I'm pretty proud of Olympic sports and countries, and seeing them battle it out with each other. But you say no, he's under contract. He just had a major injury. We're not letting him pitch.
Right.
We want him this season because let's face it. Other than Brooks Raley in the bullpen this year, and when Robertson was here with us, everyone else was god-awful.
110%.
Do want to get to some comments. And I'm going to save Disgruntled's comment for last because I do want to harp on it. So I'm not ignoring you, Disgruntled. Alex and Luke are honest. It's refreshing. We need
I don't
running things.
Barbara, I'll just say this. I don't hold back. You play good, I'm gonna praise you. If you don't play what you're supposed to do, you're gonna get ripped. I call it how it is. I don't care if you're my team, another team. I tell it how it is.
Right. He talking about Dan Grossi fills in on Michael K show. Edwin
yes,
Diaz,
I do. I did know he was talking. Yes.
Steve Cohen is the Wish version of George Steinbrenner. But as I said, I would get Disgruntled's comment. But any final thoughts on the Mets?
I think I covered all the idiocy that they've put out in the past.
Idiocy.
No, it is. Can we just lose and shut up peacefully? Is that too much to ask? I'm okay with just losing. Go ahead, lose your baseball. Lose. You got Texas coming in. You got Seattle, and it's lose. Go ahead. Those are playoff teams. Go, let them lose.
2 out of 3 of us right now, John has to see with work because there's no after party if you don't know Crackle Nuts. So
yeah,
it's just a game, but I will be in attendance. I can tell you that fucking sure. But John has to see, of course. And my final thought on the Mets: just fucking tank.
100%.
That's exactly it. Before we get to final thoughts, and then I'll get to, as I said, disgruntled's comment because I have to. What the fuck are you doing?
Uh-oh. We have a late night fight.
What are you doing? Stop being a clown. You need circus music because Luca decided to be a clown. Anyway, before we get to final thoughts and my final comments, of course, we are sponsored by SeatGeek. Yes, if you're going to a concert, you need MetLife parking passes for a game, or if you need game tickets, you can go to SeatGeek and we could help you out by giving you a promo code. Yes, Big Blue in the Bronx. Now you could use that promo code on your SeatGeek order, $20 off your entire order with the promo code Big Blue in the Bronx.
Crackle nuts. I'll just say that the fight reenactment, it's gonna be like Jose Ramirez hitting Tim Anderson, and I'm not Tim Anderson, so let's go, buddy.
All for fun and games.
Of course.
Luca, if you want to start with final thoughts.
I thought you were going to address Disgruntled comment.
No, I will. It's in my final.
Okay.
It's in my final address.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. Obviously, we had a good night talking NFL football. Had some of the headlines over across the NFL, the Giants and the Jets. Football season's almost here. Just come a little quicker.
John?
Yeah, no, I mean, please,
What did we learn today, though?
What happened?
Well, you gotta say that. Well, what did we learn today?
Oh, excuse me. I didn't address my class. Well, ladies and gents, what did we learn today? That still sucked, but nevertheless, the more importantly right now, obviously the Jets and Giants, we're going to watch their training camp cuts, and they will announce the 53-man roster. I don't know why that took me forever to say that, but nevertheless, we also always appreciate the support you guys give. Just remember, these two fine gentlemen are doing the Yankee stream for y'all on Thursday, so you guys can vent together, laugh at the teams. And then also Sunday, we got a doubleheader for baseball on for the Mets and Yankees. So it's going to be double the rant, double the pain, and double the fun for you guys. So
yes,
that'll be a very interesting one.
I will say Thursday may or may not happen. I'm going to see what my schedule looks like for this week. So if you guys keeping tabs with the community notes, keeping tabs with Twitter, wherever you follow us. I don't have an email or newsletter logged yet, so you can't keep up through there. So we'll keep you updated. I know Wednesday we'll be on game season for the Yankees Tigers. We'll be on NYY News TV. Yeah, so I know we're getting a couple of buy comments also as well. What was I gonna say? Great show. You guys do a great job. All the hard work you do. We appreciate it, man. Bye week, then it's time for Talk Fall by the Wayside and time for Reality Hit for the Hit the Fan for 32 teams. Let's fucking go. So as I said, I wanted to get to this comment because not that I have to explain myself, but I will. Everybody sees, at least a lot of people do. And again, I don't have to address it, but I will because I can. And Disgruntled makes a very good point. Nobody wants to rip their own team, but you got to be honest about your team's situation. Delusional fans are the worst. That's absolutely right. Delusional fans are the worst. Now, I'm not going to sit here and call out the Yankees fan base or something like that because that's not what I'm here to do. Now, yes, they are my counterparts. They are colleagues, if you want to consider it that. It's not really that. But I'm a Yankee fan. Like, I'm not Michael Kay. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I whatever talent level, whatever, I'm not Michael Kay. I'm not going to sit here and rip the fans. I'm not going to do that. I will when it's warranted because I'm a fan myself. Michael Kay isn't. He's the mouthpiece of the Yankees organization. And people see on Twitter, oh, you're negative about the Yankees, all you do is have a negative persona about them. May I remind you that I don't want to be that way? May I remind you that the Yankees were the first team that I ever got into? May I remind you that I hated football for a good portion of my life? This one down here, and Sean too, can co-sign that. When they would talk Steelers and Jets and AFC football, I'd be like, how about them Yanks? Because I love them so much, and I didn't like football. Now, the Giants have impressed me. The Knicks and the Rangers. I hope to get into Rangers a little bit more, of course, for my fandom side. But they've impressed me in different areas, right? And I'm still getting into them, right? There's always new shit to learn. And I wanted to start covering the Yankees in 2020 because I'm like, you know what? When Giants non-football season is here, I need something to do. And the reason we don't talk about the Yankees a lot on this show is because I'm not going to sit here and regurgitate the same fucking nonsense. I'm just not, we're not, and I'm not going to rip Yankee content creators because that's not something I would do. But we're not an only Yankee podcast. We're not an only Yankees channel. There's other ways we could distribute content. Because if this is the route the Yankees are going to go, I'm not going to say I'm going to stop doing content, but what I am going to say is I'm not going to keep regurgitating the same fucking nonsense I've been saying since 2020. That the team needs to tear it up, fire Cashman, fire Boone, get the fucking players out and actually do something. And I would listen, look, when the Yankees did well last year, we commended them. When they fell off, we didn't commend them. Brian Cashman got re-signed. I told you my honest thoughts. Coming into the year, I had no hype for the Yankees. I had them winning the division, but I had them just easily same spot as last year. They're in last place now. So, again, I know John obviously has developments with the Mets, and if he wants to go on a tangent or whatever and make valuable points and not regurgitate the same nonsense, he has a platform and he has the right to do so because I'm allowing him, and I know it's going to be good for you guys. And this is the same thing. It's literally out of general fucking energy. I don't have the energy right now to rant about the Yankees. Yeah, they won tonight. I don't have the energy. I don't because it's the same regurgitated nonsense. I have other things to worry about in my life rather than just ranting on the Yankees every week. I have other sports to talk about on this channel. Luca has other sports to talk about on this channel. The Jets finally have some hope this year. Nick Rangers, that's a lot of different stuff, as I talked about.
The Knicks, I'm just going to say this. I'm sorry to interrupt. Two things. The Knicks made more progress in the last few years than the Yankees have had since 2017. And this is Alex is basically saying every point that I've been saying. And I know I ranted yesterday for a little bit, but how much more can we all say about the Yankees and how much bad they are? Like, it gets old after a while. That's why I say, guys, I'm sorry, I don't want to rant. I say it on NY News TV when we do game season. I'm like, I'm not going to come here on somebody else's platform or whoever's platform
and I don't want to
ranting.
force shit either. Like, I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't want to force shit. Like, people think it's for views and stuff. I'm genuinely unhappy when I release those videos. I'm genuinely unhappy. Like, I wanted the Yankees to get Juan Soto, and obviously we did some good videos with the Yankees last year and whatnot. And we created content in terms of the Twin Bill podcast last year because we love the Yankees. You know, there was going to be some hope around the team and whatnot, and they were actually doing well. But I'm not going to sit here and force content. That's not what I want to do. And I know it's a bad marketer on my part because the easy thing to do is throw out rants, force them, and then get 10K views. That's not me, folks. That's not me. And no, I'm not calling anybody out. If anyone dares to come and say that, I'm not calling anybody out. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit there and rant for 1,000 hours just so I could stress myself out on a bunch of fucking nonsense. That doesn't mean too much to me anymore. We'll say still possible for the Yankees to land Soto. The Padres are imploding because they're doing this little golf clap. Cashman's here's too long. It's not working anymore. Always love the Yankees. That's why we're hard on them. Exactly. It's all calling me out. You make content? You make content, Crackle Nuts?
Let
me know. I'll put your channel.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, he is funny. I'll put your channel in the chat, Crackle Nuts. But yeah, listen, it's out of passion. Like, I wanted Joe Judge fired in week 3 of the 2021 season because I saw the route it was going. And you know what I did? You know, I did, folks. If you go back to 2021, maybe the last 7 weeks of the season, I didn't talk Giants on. I had a podcast to do. That's all I talked Giants. You go on Boys in the Big Apple, when we were doing with Sean and multiple other guests, I wouldn't talk Giants because it was the same fucking nonsense. And until Joe Judge got fired, I didn't say anything. Jake Fromm, Mike Lennon starting. What's to analyze? What's to break down? Seriously. Like, are we going to say, oh, Aaron Judge carries the team again? So I just wanted to put that out there. I would sign Soto because Dominguez. I mean, that's a whole separate entity itself. But I'm done explaining myself. I know you guys didn't really need to hear that. It's just for other folks who misunderstand me. You know, they want to misunderstand me. That's fine. This is the best channel on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now.
What?
Fuck
Oh,
that
what?
shit.
What do they have? What do they have the right to be, Alex?
Oh, they have the right to be wrong. We're going to make a
There you
shirt.
go.
We're going to make a shirt about that. But
I'll wear it.
you got other channels that have more subscribers than us? Fuck that. A lot of great channels start at the bottom, like everybody else. So guess what? You ain't getting all the shit here. You're not getting anywhere else. Just gonna say that right now. Used car salesman. That's absolutely right. I mean,
That's like Aaron Boone, used car salesman.
That's right.
I don't know what John's doing anymore. You know what, John? If you're gonna do that, at least put the bucket hat on.
I'll put the bucket hat on. Hold on.
At least put the bucket hat on.
Do I have to join in this whole glasses contest?
Yes,
I'll put it
actually.
on.
Put a sun hat on and sunglasses. We're gonna end the show like this.
Yeah, of course. I had to show off the new shades. They came today.
Oh, really?
They did
Okay.
Great look. You know?
Very nice. All right, so we gotta wait for Luca, and then we'll close out.
Yeah, of course. As
That-
he chooses
that-
of the million walls.
That blue hat right there looks like he's a zookeeper. It's like you hold them bugs and stuff like that.
All right.
He's putting it on. It's gonna be.
I have the
after-
shades. Don't worry about that.
It's gonna be after midnight by the time he puts this on.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So, okay. Okay. So this is how we're gonna end the show.
Mm-hmm.
Why? John looks like an off-brand Copizzle. Yes, this is the show before we end. So just want to keep you guys updated. I'll let you guys know community notes wise what we do in terms of the cut day, because I obviously have to break down the cuts the Giants make, the rest of them. We got an interview coming next week. I'm not going to say who till it's finalized and all that sort of stuff, but we got an interview about the Giants as of most likely as of right now. We also got a preview next week for the Cowboys game. We got a hype video coming. We got the Thursday Night Football game, which we'll be calling on here. And a lot of good stuff. John mentioned we will definitely do the doubleheader between the Mets, Mariners, and the Yankees, Astros. So a lot of good stuff coming for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe to all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when live stream pops to your drops. Share out, too. That's very important. If you haven't already, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts for the Big Blue in the Bronx podcast. But appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Peace out.